Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for joining us yet again on another beautiful Tuesday evening. The first Tuesday in March.
Tuesday.
Which feels outstanding. February went by like that,
Can I just, well, I mean, it usually does. It's short. But can I just say I miss the Shawn Michaels sometimes?
No.
Oh,
I do.
No.
So
we could change it up.
one of the things I actually we were going to talk about before we went on the air. We were going to talk about it, but we didn't have the time because I was busy.
Extension.
I was busy, going through Twitter and combing through things. Oh yeah, you didn't know you could do that?
I just got an extra like 2 inches. I don't have to slouch.
Wow.
But your wife is going to be thrilled.
Extra 2 inches. That's a game changer right
All I
there.
gotta do is, apparently, all I gotta do is lose weight. Right?
That puts you into apparently.
Apparently.
Well, yeah, it's optical illusions, right? You know, you get skinnier and everything around you looks smaller.
Like Eddie Murphy on The Nutty Professor. Lose weight, get healthy, get in shape, all that stuff. Ain't everybody supposed to be small? We're supposed to be big, medium, small, midgets, you know?
Midgeses.
Best line of the movie. You can sew up your stomach and your asshole. You still gonna be fat.
Joey Fats Radio, row 1, seat 1, 774-992-8702. We got 2 hours action-packed sports talk coming at you. We've got everything from J.J. Watt to Russ Wilson to Dak Prescott. We'll get into some NBA. We'll get into some MLB. We'll get into some trading cards. We got a bunch of stuff on the table to get into as the show progresses on. Obviously, some of the bigger talking points of the evening will be, J.J. Watt, obviously going to Arizona, what we think of that. The Dak Prescott contract deal. Is he going to want more? How much more?
Well, I mean,
Patrick Mahomes
didn't
money.
he always want more?
Patrick Mahomes money or somewhere therein. What do the Cowboys do? So get in on that. Give us your phone calls, 774-992-8702. Be sure to follow us on Row 1 Seat 1 on Facebook and check out row1seat1.com as well. We have a big programming announcement coming up next week.
Major.
Next week or the week after? Next week is No, it'll be 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tonight.
2 weeks.
We have a major programming announcement coming up, so make sure you follow the show, Facebook page, and follow us everywhere you can, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff. And because we got big stuff coming, big things coming.
Big things are already starting as well.
Yeah.
Spoiler, it becomes an a cappella show.
But we're not a quartet. We need one more.
No, we just sing everything.
That would honestly be quite funny if we
This
could pull that
is
off.
the dawning of the age of Dak Prescott. I just make shit up. I don't know.
I kind of like where that's going.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
That could be a
Just
small
wing it.
segment
Honestly,
on the show.
I was not. I had no idea what Sean was about to say right there, and it worked. It worked. So good for you, Sean.
I don't know the rest of the words,
So
though.
speaking of major developments, Cutting Cards is starting to come around now. Starting to get some more stuff in the shelves over there. So if you want to check us out, Cutting Cards on Acushnet Avenue, 2306 Acushnet Avenue.
2306 Acushnet Ave. Cutting card. Yeah, I gotta get.
That's New Bedford.
That is New Bedford. Yes.
Just in case anybody in the vicinity is just like, Cushing Ave,
I
what?
mean, we're streaming on New Bedford.
I know, but people. Somebody mentioned us in like Montana the other day. They're like, "Hi from Montana." I'm like,
Sweet.
Okay.
What's up?
Fucking Montana.
One of my favorite quarterbacks.
He's like, New Bedford, Montana. Here we go. Why is he sound like he's from the south and the northern part of the?
I would imagine that's kind of how people from Montana talk, right? Everybody like kind
I
of
don't know about
Midwestern.
that, Tim.
No, they sound like Middle America.
Oh yeah, no, he's probably going to be more like Minnesota, like, oh, Scott Baccarat with his tallywhacker.
We don't shake our tushies in Minnesota.
Yeah.
We are insulting our poor Montana fan that we had.
I'm just trying to guess.
Look, he
I
made
want
the
to know
cut.
what I
He
want to
made
know
the
what
cut.
somebody from Montana sounds like. Have that guy
Have
call
him
in.
call in.
I just want to know what Montana accents sound like. Like we all know
Listen,
Boston.
we're the accent.
It's awful.
To him, we're the accent.
Oh, it's so
All right?
awful. I know. I
Not
hate
the
our
accent.
accent too. I loathe it.
Nah, I love it.
Loathe it.
I love it.
Especially when you watch like movies and they got to like oversell it. You know, like you watch like The Departed and it's like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and they're like, "Hey, let's go over to that pack and get in the car over there. Let's go.
It's all
Come
about
on,
the Hyundai
Ben-
commercial.
Ben
come
The
on,
smart pack.
Penny. Come on,
Ben Affleck
guy."
was not in that movie.
You got the
Well,
smart
whatever.
pack.
Any Boston movie featuring Matt Damon or Ben Affleck or Mark Wahlberg
Mark Wahlberg, there you
instantaneously
go.
has an over-exaggerated Boston accent.
True.
Which is
fair
better
enough.
than a Fall River accent, which is like I'm gonna go to the store with Paula and I'm gonna get some coffee and a donut and maybe
No,
some
it's
hot
it's
dogs.
coffee
Yeah,
and a hot
that's
dog.
that's the RI accent.
dogs.
It's basically Rhode Island.
Yeah, which is also just terrible. But anyway, so
Moving along.
let's get on with the show. I was gonna say before we came on, one of the things I was planning on doing was actually constructing a standardized open for us every week. So it'll be So the Shawn Michaels thing will probably be making its triumphant return.
Ooh, I can start dancing.
Yeah, because it gets Keith moving. He gets He gets a little excited.
But what about the ban, the Facebook ban?
That's only if you play it for like minutes on end.
Okay.
Yeah, the 10, 15 seconds.
If you play it for like 10 seconds or less, they don't care. They leave it alone.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. We had
Has to be like a baseball
because
walk-up song.
we had like a Dr. Dre beat under our open for the first year and a half.
Yeah.
That we did the show.
That's true.
And it never got flagged because
Okay,
it was
fair
always
enough.
us talking over it.
And then
It's
Jadakiss forever.
It's like when that kid live streamed the UFC fight, but he
With
sat
the
there with a
controller,
controller in his
yes,
hands.
Yes.
And-
That was on Twitch.
And no one picked
No,
up
on
on it.
YouTube, the dude with the cat.
Yeah. Just no one picked up on
Just
it.
sitting there rocking out
Yeah.
like, yo, this cat's going hard.
It's great. It's absolutely phenomenal. So there are ways to beat the tech tyrants at their own game. You just got to be clever
You
and
can also
sneaky.
flip the video image too. That works.
Yeah, you can do that. Because there's they're computers. They're
There's
dumb.
things.
I mean, think about it. These are computers that are so stupid that they gave me a 3-day Facebook ban because I called a fictional monkey a bitch.
Truth.
Monkey.
That King Kong, he got upset.
To be fair, they're doing marketing for the movie right now, so he deserved it.
Okay.
They're like, how dare you? This is costing us millions of dollars in Kong bucks.
In whatever Skull Island's currency is, which I just would imagine
Congos.
which is just like human feces and like spiked poles or something like that.
Meh.
I don't know. But anyhow, 704-992-8702. That's the phone number. Give us a call, whatever you guys want to talk about as well. So let's kick it off with J.J. Watt because obviously that was the biggest story of the week.
What a T-shirt.
I like the way J.J. Watt announced where he was going. He said, J.J. Watt to the Arizona Cardinals. Source, me.
Yeah, that was great.
Which I thought was fantastic. I think it was one of the best
And then the caption, squats.
the best reveals of all time. Now, obviously, J.J. Watt, we knew he was released about a week and a half ago, a little over a week
Which
ago.
we knew was going to happen.
Yes.
We didn't know it was going to happen. It came out of left field. All of a sudden, he was released. We were like, oh, okay, J.J. Watt's a free agent. We thought they were going to try to trade him. That we assumed they were going to try to get something for him, considering they got nothing for DeAndre Hopkins or Jadeveon
Yeah, but
Clowney.
I think because it's J.J. Watt and him being J.J. Watt, that's why they released him. Like, go wherever you
But
want.
I think the Texans probably regret it now, to be honest with you. They were doing him a solid by saying, you've been the face of the franchise, you're doing so much for the city, we'll respect your wishes and let you go. His contract was about 15 to 16 million per year, and we all sat here being like, "Oh, well, he's obviously going to sign for less than that somewhere else, but he can pick his own team." And then he signs for the exact same deal with more guaranteed money. It's like, what the? Like some team, I guarantee you the Texans sat here and said, "God damn it, we should have just traded him for like a 5th or 6th round pick. Just
Yeah,
get
because
something for him."
somebody would have taken it.
Yeah, but they were trying to do right by JJ and let
That's
him
what I'm
pick
saying.
where he
I mean,
wanted to
the
go.
dude
and-
saved Houston.
They're doing right by JJ, but not right by another man who may or may not be race related.
We'll get into that in a little bit.
The inmates running the yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, or something to that effect. So Watt goes to, of all the teams that J.J. Watt had a chance to play for. Now, the thing with this deal is what's kind of amusing for this whole thing is because we were told J.J. Watt he wants to play for a competitor. He wants to have he wants to chase a ring.
Playoff run,
He
yep.
wants to be
Yep.
on a team that's going to be there at the end of the year.
Yep.
I'm not saying the Arizona Cardinals won't be a playoff team next year.
But they probably won't be a playoff team next year.
But the Arizona Cardinals are very, very, very unlikely to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl next year. Can we agree on that?
They're unlikely to represent themselves in a playoff game.
Yes.
See, I think Seattle is the worst team in the division.
What does J.J. Watt add to that team?
Another edge rusher, just a presence.
Cool.
Yeah, but-
because now they have to cut either Chandler Jones or Patrick Peterson.
Correct.
Patrick Peterson's on the way out, for sure.
All right, so now
Now your secondary
you've
takes a
weakened
blow.
your secondary,
Yeah, right.
Because you definitely had to sign J.J. Watt, right?
So the thing with J.J. Watt is, and look, again, I think if Arizona feels like they have depth behind Peterson where they can fill in and they're not letting Peterson walk isn't going to kill them, then yes, okay, you get J.J. Watt, you bring another guy, in who can rush the passer. Because, J.J. Watt has the second most sacks. Since 2012, J.J. Watt is the second most
Yes, he
sacks
does.
in the NFL. Do you know who has the most sacks in that period of time?
Is it Vaughn?
No.
Drum roll, please.
No. Yeah, it is Miller, isn't it?
Wrong. Chandler Jones.
Chandler Jones. Oh, okay.
Okay, because he had that huge year when he first got to
So-
Arizona and he blew up.
So I think he's got 97.5 sacks since 2012 when he got
Jones is
drafted
like
by the
99 or
Patriots.
100.
Because Bill Belichick, the GM, is such a trash. So
It's so weird when I have Joey on my side about something. It's like very strange.
it's just
It's a bizarre world.
This is true.
Sean, the thing is we're often at odds on different things because of who we like, but very often I'm on the right side of it. You just don't like what I have to say.
Well, listen, when truths
not
are
true at all.
truths, and that's what we're all about.
Right.
I mean,
So
it
you
doesn't
now
matter
so
the
now
side
you've
when
got
it's the truth.
so now you've got Chandler Jones and his 97.5 career sacks on one end. He's coming back. He was injured last year, if I'm not mistaken, right? He went out or
He had some hip injuries.
he got banged up. He was
Yes.
coming back. So he's coming back healthy. You get J.J. Watt on a team that's pretty much, it's pretty close. Like they were close this year. Grant, they had a couple of games this year that they should have won. Week 17 against the Rams, which was just an atrocity. The Patriots game, and there was a sprinkle in a few other ones in there. There was
There was
like
also
4
a
or
few
5
games that they
games.
should have lost.
There was 4 or
that they
5
won.
games though that they absolutely positively should have won and they screwed the pooch.
Mm-hmm.
So Arizona, as an offense, you've got a young, dynamic offense. That's probably going to get better. Watt goes over there. Now, I don't think J.J. Watt moves the needle in terms of the Arizona Cardinals, playoff chances or Super Bowl aspirations. I really don't. But what I do think he does is he brings a veteran presence to a team that doesn't know how to win yet. You've got Chandler Jones, who's been there. He's been around a little bit. He's seen some deep playoff runs in his life. He was when he was
He's
in
won
New
it.
England. Yeah, he understands. Now you get a guy like J.J. Watt who's been around in the league, hasn't made
He's
a
a
deep
voice.
playoff run, but he's at least an accomplished player that guys will look up to and listen to. He's a veteran presence. He's a smart player. He's still got a little lead left in the pencil. You're not going to see All-Pro MVP J.J. Watt, but this is kind of Calais Campbell to Baltimore. Like this is kind of along those same lines.
See,
Not a move where you're like, oh my God, this is slam dunk, put him in the Super Bowl, it's over. But it's definitely a move that solidifies that defense and helps build that unit
For the line, sure.
to make that whole deep. Well, you know how it ripples
But the thing
out.
that we're missing, that you're missing here is, like you said, he's still got some lead left in his pencil. But what percentage of downs are you going to get out of J.J. Watt coming into Arizona this year?
Well, and they've already
Probably
said
like
he's not
80.
going to be in every. He's not going to
80?
be in
I
every
think
down.
that's high.
I would say
I'd say
passing.
70's a high.
60 to
70's a high. I'd say 65% is probably what
I
you're going
think.
to get. So you're getting J.J. Watt for 65% of your downs.
I think he has something to prove, though. I think he'll try to go
I'm
more.
not saying he doesn't, but
Go ahead.
he's going to be 32.
So old.
He's been beat up. He's injured. He's injury prone. I mean, come on now. Last year was the first year he was fully healthy in how long?
Probably since like the first few years
Yeah,
in the
guess
league.
what? He played 65% of downs last year.
Oh, there you go.
So if you can stick to that form and be healthy, that's great. But what do you out of those 60%? What is he making? A 10% impact out of those 65%?
Tough to gauge. I mean, it's
but like literally looking at it linear. You're
Yeah.
gonna lose Patrick Peterson.
Yeah, he's only had 3 years where he's missed time.
seems like a lot more.
16,
but
17, and 19.
time. Significant time.
Yeah, he missed the majority of the seasons in 16 and 17. He missed half the season in 19, and then he played a full season last year.
so I'm just.
I mean,
I don't want to make a comment yet about the move because I feel like there's another domino or two to place because they were at $11 million in cap space.
Yep.
They signed guaranteed $16 million now, so technically they're negative $5 million.
Yep.
They're gonna have to clear somebody. I think Patrick Peterson's like at 11 or 12 million. Chandler Jones is 20 million, that was my first thought. I was like, oh, you kind of like move the chess pieces around a little
Yeah,
bit.
you take Watt, you lose Jones, you save
and you
money.
gain $4 million in cap space, and because you need at least $6 to $7 million to
there's
sign
no,
your rookies.
there's no guarantee. Look, I've heard the rumblings are Patrick Peterson is the odd man out here because they really want to see Jones and
and
Watt on the field.
which
he's
makes
asked,
sense.
and Patrick Peterson has kind of asked like, hey, you know,
I'm getting older. I'm not. I don't
Yeah,
wanna stay on the side.
and you know who?
Kinda getting annoyed.
And you know what? If Patrick Peterson hits the market, you know who is desperate for a starting cornerback?
Denver.
Here we go.
No, I said it the other day.
You did.
I called it. I said like that's like the number one spot that he'd probably want to go to.
If they can find a way, if Von Miller stays on the team,
Nope.
and which it's one of two things. He's either going to get cut or he's going to play out this year and become a free agent at the end of the year because he's still got 1 year left
Yeah,
in the
you
deal.
gotta see what happens.
He's not
You
taking.
gotta see what happens.
He's
with
not
Miller
taking
first.
a pay cut to stay in Denver. So that's going to be that situation's ready to be worked
Yeah,
out.
but what's up with his legal
But
shit?
if-
You don't even know what you're going to get from Von Miller.
Allegedly, there's nothing to be. There's
Oh,
nothing
okay.
there.
All right. All right.
Allegedly.
Well, you only saw the negative text that he sent back. You didn't see the before or after.
Right.
He's like, "God damn, I wish you had an abortion." It's like, yeah, that's kind of bad, man. You see it like point blank like that, but you don't know before, you don't know after. You don't. We all get the shit part of it. That's what always comes out.
God
to
damn, I
me.
wish you've had an abortion. I've told that to my mom like 3 times.
It's wrong to talk about Squeefy like that.
Poor
I didn't
brother.
say it was in reference to me. But no,
Obviously.
But I'm just saying, from a fanboy standpoint, I wanted Patrick Peterson in the 2011 draft. More that was my guy that I wanted.
Yeah, he was a fucking.
So if we could get
a numbers guy.
if we
huge.
If we lose, if Von Miller leaves in free agency and we sub in Patrick Peterson, I mean, I could.
know,
then don't
you
think
could-
about the pipe dream. Yeah, we could just sign, Shaq Barrett back.
No, it's just like this.
Well,
thing,
we have the cap space
Yeah,
to
see?
do it.
There's things you can do.
To
I
be
mean,
honest.
if you
No,
go
that's the thing with
and
it.
not to get too much into the draft, but if they let go of Von Miller, if I'm Denver, I go after someone like Kwity Paye, who is like measurables considerably like the same to Von Miller without actually putting up the same numbers in college that Von Miller did. There's ways of moving around. Like, hey, we can take like 70% of Von Miller and get this young rookie guy and get him on a young rookie
And
deal.
solidify another spot.
Get
on our
Patrick
defense,
Peterson and still do something else.
Yeah. But you see, that makes sense. What Arizona did doesn't make sense.
We have yet to see the rest of the moves. And apparently, Rappaport said there's going to be an avalanche of guys getting released.
Well,
in the
Rudolph
next 2
just
weeks.
got released from the Vikings.
I know Kyle Rudolph just got
Yeah,
released.
we'll touch on that in a
Yep.
little bit. But no, I think look, as far as the move is bringing in Watt to the Cardinals goes. So this is kind of twofold because it's from a football standpoint. Look, I think it's a great move for Watt. Okay, he gets paid first and foremost.
Change of scenery.
$31 million contract for 2 years, $23 million guaranteed. But payday. Good for him. He deserves it. Of all the players in the league, he absolutely deserves it. He was at his wit's end in Houston, which apparently everybody is, and they all want out of there. He goes to Arizona, a team that's not. You're not looking at them going into
They're
the
not
season,
jumping off the paper.
right? But they're ready to compete.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray takes another step forward. You have
Cliff has
DeAndre
another
Hopkins.
year under his belt.
You get maybe, because Kingsbury and the midget are attached at the hip here. So they're going to go forward as a unit. And this is what's going to be this is it. Like they've got to make this work. And right now, as it stands, I still have Arizona as the third best team in that division.
Well, I think Arizona makes the move because of the Rams getting Stafford.
Also, yes, you look around the
Now
division.
they're like, all right, the Rams just got way better. We need to pressure Matt Stafford. Like that's a way you got to look at it. They got to go through the Niners. They got to go through the Seahawks. They got to go through the Rams.
It's so difficult. It's very, very, very difficult. I agree with you, but I still feel like it's all smoke and mirrors for at least 2 more weeks. Like we don't know
Yeah,
what the
because
hell's
right,
going on.
gonna happen.
right.
No, I
We
get
can't
that.
see the full picture yet. But just looking at it from a Cardinals standpoint right now, this doesn't move them above.
No.
Maybe
this doesn't put them past LA.
If you want to put them equal with the Niners, okay, I'll
yeah,
listen
maybe.
to that. LA is the best team in that division. Seattle is the worst. Where Arizona and San Francisco kind of fill in there.
Wait, Seattle's the worst at what?
The Seattle's the worst team in that division.
Well, their defense is atrocious.
And it's not even
The
close.
Seahawks?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I mean, okay.
Even if
you
Russell
think
Wilson
about teams,
even if
okay,
Russell
I'm
Wilson
sorry.
stays, if you go tit for tat, roster for roster, Arizona, Seattle,
yeah,
Arizona's roster's better.
You are right. I thought you meant like quarterback play. I don't know why.
No,
I thought
No.
of that.
We're saying team.
No,
I got you.
and this is
My
assuming
mistake.
Russ Wilson stays in
Stays in
Seattle,
Seattle,
which
yeah.
we'll definitely dive into that in a few minutes. But this is one of those instances where the Cardinals have they kind of have a chance here. I think to surprise some people next year, and I think they will. I've always been at heart. I've always been a huge Cardinals fanboy, just because Jake Plummer
the
and
Snake.
David Boston were fucking rad as fuck, and I always was mesmerized by David Boston and like Aeneas Williams, and I was like, David Boston looked like fucking Mr. Olympia catching passes.
David Boston was
Huge.
DK Metcalf before DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
I think wasn't he bigger than Metcalf?
Well, he was just like a fucking bulk machine.
And then he went to San Diego, had that 1 year, he blew up, and then you never heard from him again.
Oh, he did massive steroids, and they
He's-
get busted. And he was
and
like,
then-
Well, they were like, oh, no wonder why.
he's like, this isn't legal. And they're like, no.
He was like, damn.
So, look, I mean, I'll excuse myself from being a little bit of a homer here, but I think Arizona's ready to surprise people. I think what they learned last year, they lost games that they should have won. It takes teams like this 2 or 3 years sometimes when you have a young core like that to gel and learn how to win, right? We see this all the time. We saw it even to a degree in Denver with John Fox for 3 years. That team they got to a Super Bowl and then they lost 2, were one and done 2 other years. It took them till the 4th year before they were like, okay, we know how to win now. We know what it takes to do this. We know what we got to do, and they committed to it.
Oh, you mean it took Peyton Manning?
No, Peyton was there for the 3 years prior to that, too. So, I'm just saying. When they got rid of John Fox and probably
Kubiak, yeah.
Yeah. So, anyhow, but my point being is I think the Cardinals can actually surprise some people here. I think they can come out. I think they can make some noise in the West. Again, I still think they're the 3rd best team, but that gives them a shot at the playoffs. There's going to be 3 teams that are going to come out of one division
Larry
somewhere.
Come back for one more go.
I think he's still there. I think he's just debating it.
Now that Watt's there and they see what's going on, does he?
Oh no, he is a free agent. I'm sorry, you're right.
Does he give it one more go?
Kind of seems like it'd be a fun year to come back, right?
In my opinion, he should. This might be his best chance since Warner.
He should go somewhere else.
He's never going.
I know he said it too, which I appreciate.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that. I'm glad you said that because go somewhere else. If Watt was truly interested in winning a championship, do you think the Arizona Cardinals would have been his first choice?
Nope. Yeah. And I am blown away by the misinformation that's coming out after the fact. Everyone's like, "Oh, well, the Cardinals definitely didn't offer the most money." If that's actually
the case,
fact, then J.J. Watt, you might as well check for CTE damage right now
maybe
because
he just missed his boy D-Hop.
That's pathetic. Apparently, nobody liked D-Hop.
No, the Cardinals definitely offered the most money.
No, I think they offered, if not the most, close to the most.
No, they offered. They probably didn't offer the most per year, but they offered the most guaranteed, and that's more important.
I'll give you that.
Guaranteed money is what gets these guys to sign nowadays because obviously it's football and everybody knows that your career can be over in one play.
Yep.
We've seen it time and time and time and time again. Guaranteed money. Again, when we look at the contracts these free agents make, and people are like, they gave him how much? But then you realize what the guarantee portion is.
Oh, it's only an eighth of that.
Oh, okay, never mind. This is a backloaded as shit deal, and this sucks. But in Watt's case, a lot of the times too, as far as teams go, you don't know. You talk to agents and front office guys. The agents know what's going on. The front office, the teams, they don't know what's going on. Basically, you're like blind bidding for these guys. You know that thing that people try to shoehorn into their fantasy football leagues all the time? Mm-hmm. That's just the worst fucking idea in the world. That's basically how real NFL free agency goes. You don't necessarily know. You might have an inkling as to what somebody can offer.
Hey, we're going to give you this.
But the Cardinals came completely out of left field with this signing. No one had the Cardinals.
Even last week, we never even
on
not
the
even
radar.
Not even Vegas had him as a top 3 candidate.
No,
it was like okay. And
secretly, J.J. Watt put a huge bet on the Cardinals.
Yeah,
he's like, I got to make up the difference. Pow!
What?
But and then today he came out and he goes every time I was looking at myself and things I was looking for, Arizona's name always came up, and I'm like, what were the things you were looking for? Heat? Were you looking for high temperatures at all times? Because Arizona.
I want it to feel like Texas. I don't want to be in Texas.
I want my skin to melt, but not to be next to a guy saying yeehaw. It's like Arizona. There you go. I feel
like Arizona's more yeehaw than Texas sometimes, though.
Maybe more cacti.
Or maybe more
cacti.
That's right, plural.
Hey.
Or maybe maybe he just wanted to bro down one more time with some sluts from Arizona State. I don't know.
Is he married? I don't even know.
Yeah, remember? Isn't his
No, he didn't go to Arizona State.
No, I know that. But he went to Wisconsin. But I'm just saying maybe he
Wisconsin.
wants to bro down with some bitches from Arizona State. Okay. You know?
Rivals.
You can't spell slut without Arizona State. Just saying. But I don't understand where. So last week, all we heard about was, he's going to go to the Bills. He's going to be a great fit in Buffalo. He'll love Buffalo. Buffalo will love him. They'll treat him like a second son.
I would have hated his guts, but that would have been true.
You would have hated it.
He's going to go to Pittsburgh and play with his brother, or he's going to go to the Browns and play in Cleveland, or he's going to go to Green Bay and return to Wisconsin. Yeah. All 4 of those teams, we looked at it and we said, okay, that makes some sense.
Yeah, it does.
From okay, you want to compete and win, like Pittsburgh,
But they're always there. They're relevant.
Right. Pittsburgh is not winning a playoff game next year. Mark my words. They could start the season off 14-0 next year. They're not winning a playoff game. It's not happening. He had the attraction of playing with his younger brother. That would have been kind of cool. So you maybe you take the hit on going to a not so great of a team and not so great of a spot.
But you're with your bro.
But you have to play with your brother. Okay, I could see that. Cleveland, up and coming team. Do you really want to hitch your wagon to the Cleveland Browns though? And if you're going to go ring
but
chasing?
if you look at them, he'd be with Garrett. No. That'd be a scary line.
Buffalo makes sense in a lot of ways.
A contender.
But Buffalo doesn't have a ton of money to throw around, so they've got their own problems and needs.
Could have worked it out somehow, shape, or form.
Oh, absolutely. And let me get this. Like one thing I heard today too, and this is absolutely true. Once you get north of like the $15 million guaranteed range per year, like money's not an option. Like money's no object at that point.
One of the late teams, I think, JJ said it himself. One of the late people that tried to jump in at the last moment was the Colts.
Yeah.
And I was like,
false. That was fake news.
Oh, that was fake?
That was fake news.
Oh,
That would have
okay.
made a hella sense.
That would have made a lot of sense, to be honest with you.
Because you know what that is, and this goes back to your original point about where the Cardinals wanted about ponying up the most money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily believe that. What I think that was the Cardinals floating fake information out, and J.J. Watt's camp floating fake information out to make it seem like, for the Cardinals' sake,
They
look,
didn't just jump
we
the gun
didn't
and get him.
We
yeah.
didn't overpay for this guy.
Yeah, right,
we paid
right.
what we had to pay to get him. We didn't just
Which makes sense.
overpay.
And you know that happens.
All the time.
Who cares if you overpay? If your team sucks, you have to overpay for guys.
Because you've got to justify it.
Exactly.
You've got to because
We suck.
Steve
They
Keim's
just suck.
Steve
Not you
Keim's still
guys.
going to justify the signing. Steve Keim can't.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean? So
you wanted him bad over here.
if all of a sudden they
Hell
find
yeah.
out if maybe the Cardinals were like, oh shit, maybe the Colts offering him $17 million or $14 million a year. All right, well let's give him 16 and seal the deal. And then you find out that wasn't true. It's like, oh, so we were bidding against ourselves.
Yeah.
Whoops. And that happens all the time too. Granted, but you never know who the pawns are in that game. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
you just never know. But I can say that Pat McAfee on the Pat McAfee show did confirm today through his sources in Indianapolis that the Colts they never made J.J. Watt an offer.
Dude, you know who he's like hinted his sources? Jim Irsay.
It very well could be.
I mean,
It makes me laugh so much. He's like, my sources,
the Yoner.
it's good. It's
Yeah.
good.
It's the best sauce you could have.
He's got a
trust me.
slight southern twang. Like, yeah. He's
He likes his Waka Dry.
Pat McAfee's the fucking man. That show is great.
Oh, he's great. And
Oh, I love that show. I listen to
what's
it
his
every day
name
now.
from the Packers on there is seamless. No, Rogers is a guest.
AJ Hawk.
AJ Hawk.
Yeah.
AJ Hawk is like unrecognizable. He lost like 55 pounds.
Yeah.
He's just a regular thin dude.
He did a great job. He did a great job sitting in for
Coming off those steroids.
He was actually scheduled to host. Pat went on vacation 2 weeks ago, and then the day Pat was on vacation, his first day, he's on the beach, and the news breaks that Carson Wentz got traded to the Colts. So he zoomed in live from the beach with like his little Mai Tais and shit. And he's doing his show from the beach, like just hanging out. I was like, this show is great. This is like what we would do. This is how we would do it.
Essentially.
Joey would be so goddamn annoying. Call in, Joey's like, you see who the Denver Broncos just got? Patrick Mahomes. It's like, you got the name wrong. Fuck it. I'm going live.
He said, hey, you're right. I've had a couple of Chardonnays.
Yeah,
What of
that
it?
line.
I've had a couple of Chardonnays. What of it?
What of it?
Schloncha. So the J.J. Watt thing, like, obviously there's always little pawns in this misinformation game that gets floated out there. So we can confirm, or it was confirmed via Pat McAfee, that the Colts never made a J.J. Watt an offer. So we don't know if there was other teams out there that were sniffing around maybe.
Which I'm sure there was.
And there are teams that are sitting there they'll call. And that's the other thing, too. All 32 teams are going to call and ask, like, hey, what's the price?
What's the price? And then
And then you get one guy go, well, would $13.5 million a year do it? Well, maybe, but we'll weigh our options. And then next thing you know, like the news is out there, like, so some team has offered J.J. Watt $13.5 million, and blah blah blah. Who could it be? And all of a sudden it's then
the next team's like, we'll give you 14.5.
Exactly. It's how you drive the price up for your guy, especially when, like you said, you have a 32-year-old aging defensive end who's only had one healthy season in the last 4. Makes sense, right? Like, you want to drive that price up as much as you can.
Absolutely.
So he gets the most, because this is, for all intents and purposes, J.J. Watt's last payday.
Yeah.
At least major payday. Like, he's,
period.
$23 million. Boom, bang,
Thank
done.
you.
Guaranteed. No, it's 32, but 23 guaranteed.
What did I say? 32?
No, you said 23, but
Yeah, 23 million.
It's 32.
31. 31 million, 23 million guaranteed.
Oh, okay.
There was only a difference. Yeah, there was only a difference
thought
of
it was reciprocals.
8 million.
I thought it was 16.
Whoa.
Oops.
You could be right. I'm just going off what I saw. You might be right.
Yeah.
I'm just going from what I saw. But no, look, it's not a bad move for the Cardinals. We'll see how it shakes out with the rest, how that affects the rest of their roster.
What's going to happen out west anyway? West could still have a shakeup going down.
Yeah, so let's stay in the NFC West real quick, and let's jump over to the Seahawks side of things, because
as you stated, they're already the worst roster in the West.
They're the worst
And
roster.
that's with Russell Wilson.
Yes, correct. And that's with Russ. Russ is reportedly done with the Seahawks.
Knowing
The
that he has a poop
Seahawks
roster.
are reportedly done with Russ. So
Which blows my mind.
this is right. It's not something you.
How do I get a 19-page biography of Tom Brady getting an erection inside Gillette Stadium and that causing disruption between the whole organization, and Russell Wilson is literally fist-fucking the organization and they hate his guts, and you don't hear a whisper about it? It blows my mind.
Because I have to wonder internally what's going on in Seattle, because I think Seattle, and this is just
It's Sierra.
this is my guess. I think Seattle was done with Russ before Russ was done with Seattle.
That shocks.
Because I think they look at their roster, they look at what they're going to have to pay him, and they look at the production they're getting. I mean, the Seahawks. When was the last time the Seahawks won a playoff game?
A while.
Before Sierra.
5-6 years ago?
That's going to be my
The
theme.
Cowboys?
Or no, they beat the Vikings a couple of years ago, right?
Yes,
When,
yes.
When,
And, the wild card.
the year they played outside, so like 17.
Yep.
It's the win, Sean.
It's not like someone knocked on your window. I was like, you fucking vampires up here?
No, it's fucking breezy.
It's the bats.
Jesus.
It's a breezy bitch out there. It's be careful driving on the highway, especially. It's like woof,
Breezy.
dude. I was like getting pushed around today on 195. It was wicked nasty. I think they were done because I think they were for some reason there's been some sort of problem, and this could go back to maybe centering around an ego thing with Russ.
Well,
Because-
what's his contract?
I'll pull it up for you in a second, but let me just finish this point
It's
for you.
worth it.
It's worth it. Whatever it is, it's worth it.
But you haven't won.
You have a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Those don't come around very often.
No, they don't.
So, what I believe this, and maybe this is just me purely speculating here, is I think maybe Russ's ego has gotten a little bit too big for his britches. He wants input on how to run what offense he wants to run, how he wants it done, personnel, so on and so forth. We heard the reports of him storming out of meetings, with ownership when they basically told him to sit down and shut the fuck up. This sounds like it might have been something that's been coming down the pike here a little more than we knew or anticipated.
Which happens.
Now, but go back to a couple of years ago, right before Russ signed this extension. Remember I was sitting here slamming the desk, give me Russ or give me death?
Yeah.
Because I wanted Seattle to do the dumbest fucking thing they could have possibly done, which was let him become a free agent and just let his services be bid upon. Because I was like, I want him in Denver right now. Right fucking now. Give me Russ Wilson. Give me Russ. I don't care. Give me Russ. They almost did it then they restructured it, but looking back at it now, it's like they gave him the extension. It was almost reluctantly. Like they had to do it, but they didn't want to do it. For whatever reason. And again, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors in Seattle, but when you start looking back and kind of maybe we're connecting dots that aren't there, but for the sake of talk radio and conspiracy theories, let's take a little jog down memory road. That deal didn't get done until like the 11th hour.
Yeah.
And the Seahawks and Russ were like at odds over it to the point where Russ was threatened. Like they were going to say, like, forget it. We're just going to hit free
They
agency.
almost slapped the franchise on him.
Right. So it seems
That was
like
almost like we'll just tag you.
it seems like that relationship might have been fractured a long time ago, and now it's getting to the point where where the fracture is turning into a full-blown break. Because the reports I'm hearing, everything I'm reading and hearing from Seattle is they're done with him, he's done with them. And everybody is saying now is the time to trade him away because they know right now is where you can get the most time for
Absolutely.
the most value for
Well,
him.
he still has 3 years left?
I believe it's 3 years left. I'll take a look at the deal now.
While you're looking that up, though, it's Joey's right. Now would be the time if you're going to offer for something. This is the best offseason to do it.
Yep.
And it just seems like there's so many quarterback-hungry teams right now. This is like the absolute best time as a seller and a buyer to go get a quarterback. How many teams are we talking about in the draft? They're talking about 5 quarterbacks in the first 10 picks this year. When was the last time you've seen 5 quarterbacks in the first 10 picks? I can't think of a year. You can go 2, 3. I can go
And
4.
Roethlisberger and all those guys?
That was 3 quarterbacks in the first 10 picks. Because that was Rivers, Eli, Rodgers, and then I don't think
And then same
not
thing
Rodgers. I'm sorry, Roethlisberger.
Well, what about the Allen Lamar?
So
Watson, Mahomes.
Mahomes was in the teens.
So his cap hit this year is $32 million.
Not bad.
So the Seahawks would probably have to absorb that.
Some of it.
It depends what guaranteed and signing
Depends,
bonus, things like
but,
that.
Well,
I think signing
his
bonus
base
they
is
have
19.
to cover.
Base is 19. Signing is 13. I believe don't quote me on this, but I believe if I remember right, somebody said earlier today the Seahawks would basically be on the hook for the $32 million, but get rid of them, get a haul of picks, and reinvest it, and just eat the money for this year.
I thought
What about June 1st post cut designation?
So there is a potential out in 2022 where they could get rid of them and only have a $26 million dead cap hit.
Ugh.
But it would have to be after
I
this
thought
year.
if they trade him prior to July 1st, that they would only be responsible for the
Depends on the language.
signing bonus.
Depends on the language in the deal. We don't know. We don't see it. We'll never see it.
Let's see. I'm looking through it.
But like Jacksonville,
well, they deferred $35 million of his signing bonus was deferred to 2020, so he's already been paid
So that was last year, yeah.
19. His 2021 salary becomes fully guaranteed February 12th.
So that's fully
that's
guaranteed.
already fully guaranteed. So that's $19 million. So his $19 million is fully guaranteed.
okay.
So you've either got to find a
So
team.
they could probably be on the hook for the 19.
And then his signing bonus. Yeah, so they're basically they're in it for $32 million.
Yeah.
The
Shit.
Seahawks.
So if some team's going to trade for him and they decide whatever, we're taking the cap hit and we're just going to do it and just get it done with, we're going to automatically assume Jacksonville's out. Jacksonville's going with Trevor Lawrence, and I don't think anybody's going to change that.
Yeah,
mind.
Well, it's Urban Meyer. It's Urban Meyer. So
And
yes,
he's gonna go college
he wants
guy.
the college guy. Right.
Well, you got to remember too, Ross Wilson has a full no trade clause in this contract.
yeah, so he could block it.
I think but I think as soon as you start seeing teams like the Jets,
I was just going to say the Jets are going to be the first
it's
ones
New
to call.
York, big market team.
You know what? The team I'm hearing the
Jets,
most
the
rumblings
Giants.
Go. You get to it before I will.
about. The team I'm hearing the most rumbling about is Chicago.
And I don't know why he wants to go to Chicago so bad.
Because for a couple of reasons, and this goes back to my prior comment about his ego. If he goes to Chicago, he instantly becomes the best quarterback in Bears history.
Yep.
Sadly.
Just like that.
If he wins a playoff game, it's cemented.
And if he goes there, and there is something to be said, something in him, for some reason, there's a lot of people that have been saying this or alluding to it. He wants to go to Chicago and turn them into
a winner.
For whatever reason. I don't know, like what his point is, or what he's getting at.
I always liked Chicago. As a Patriots fan, I've always had like a soft spot for Chicago. When they drafted Brian Urlacher, I was a huge Urlacher fan. So like I wouldn't mind.
That was a Ray Lewis guy. So.
Yeah, that's all right. I wouldn't mind seeing Russell Wilson go there. Shut up. I wouldn't mind seeing Russell Wilson go there and turn it around. I mean, that would be pretty cool.
It would be cool, and it would be a good story. But I think
but
it's got a lot to do with his ego, though. He wants to go there and take that team. He wants to go somewhere, and this is what it feels like to me. He wants to go somewhere where he can be unequivocally the best quarterback in that team's history.
Now,
like he can't go to Denver and be the best quarterback in Denver's history. There's already two guys that have played there before him that are already ahead of you, and will always most likely be ahead of you. At least one of them will. You know, Chicago, not so much. I mean, Jim McMahon.
He's the idol. He still is.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's it.
I think the Sex Cannon is still the best quarterback they've ever had, but that's just me.
Just for memes.
Well, definitely for memes.
I don't know, bro. Did you see how fucking far he could throw a ball?
He hit that handicapped kid in like the third
Dude.
row.
Do you see how wet he made the cheerleaders whenever he threw a ball 80 yards to nobody?
Fucking Bernard Berrien's down there somewhere.
Somewhere.
He's like, can we get Devin Hester to run some go routes? Is that too much to ask?
Actually, they did that a couple times.
Oh yeah, plenty of times.
Didn't work.
Never really
So
did
when they
work,
put D on, hey, you're gonna play wide receiver, huh?
All right, we're good.
Okay.
yeah, they did it with Champ Bailey a couple times in Denver when he first got there. It was like, yeah, hey, look at this new
Dion,
we
it
got.
actually works sometimes. Like they'd be like, all right, we're gonna get you on like a screen.
Didn't Dion have like 900 yards career receiving though?
No, Dion actually did put up some numbers receiving at some
Yeah, I
points.
think he did.
But that was all Cowboys.
Yeah, it's probably some bullshit. Like end arounds and some shit.
No, that's what I said. It's all wide receiver screens and like little fucking dump routes and shit.
But the Chicago thing, and then what would Chicago give up for him?
Well, that was going to be my point. What do they have to give up for him?
Just a plethora of picks, like for their future. They'll
Yeah,
just
but
give
what,
them
the
the future.
next 5 first-round picks of their
No,
life?
it's not going to be anything like that.
No, but,
We all talk about it, but we saw both sides of the coin already. We saw Matt Stafford get a stupid deal where, like, it feels like the
Detroit was
the
just
Lions
like-
fleeced the Rams.
Yes, they did.
And then you see the Eagles could barely get 2 nickels for Carson Wentz.
Well, why?
It's Carson Wentz.
Look, he can't even finish his speech. He's just
784 receiving yards.
That's
Dion.
impressive. You said almost 900. You almost nailed it. So I think somewhere in the middle is what you're going to see, like the actual thing. Like I think Seattle will ask for 2 first-round picks,
Which
but
they should get.
they'll probably settle on something like a first and like a second.
Yeah, but if you're tossing Mitch Trubisky into the deal,
you can't. He's a free agent.
He is a free
right.
agent.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Duh.
They can
They could toss Nick Foles.
they can toss Dick Foles.
Big Dick
Big
Nick.
Dick Nick. Hey, you want Nick Foles? You see Seattle be like, yeah, we're hanging up on you.
No, they'd be like,
They'd
they'd be like, he does get a spot.
Yeah, when he comes off the bench
Yeah.
in week 4.
They're like,
Exactly.
Who could we have to take it? Who can get us to like 6-6?
And then they say, oh my God, we can get Fitzpatrick. And then they have Fitzpatrick, and
for
they
the
said,
first 6 weeks.
they said we can go undefeated.
the first 4 weeks.
First 8
And then
weeks
we
of the
just
season, you
put
go
him in.
Fitz magic, and then you just roll out.
Pete
Nick
Carroll's
Foles.
stupid enough to do it. He's like, guys, I'm pretty sure we're gonna go 15-1.
He's sitting there just like chewing gum. It's like, why are you chewing? You don't even have any gum in your mouth. I know.
This is what I do.
He's gonna be-
Habits.
He'll be clapping in the meeting. He'll point to DK. If you DK, I'm gonna need 2,800 yards out of you this season. He's like, oh, sitting in the back, like, I don't think I can catch that many balls. Coach.
He's like, you will, and you
He's
can.
like, listen, you're gonna catch all the balls we throw at you. Trust me, son.
You see Lockett in the background. Yo, coach, I'm still here, man.
No, you just,
Oh,
you just,
speaking
you just
of
see a
Lockett-
Lockett in the background. Go, the fuck.
Speaking of Lockett, Seattle has said that he's available for trade.
Again, I think Seattle's tearing it down, dude.
Seattle's blowing it up.
I really do because look, if
They
you
really
get rid
want
of,
DK though.
if you get right,
Well,
but
I mean,
he's cheap and he's on
the
he's on the
future.
he's on the cheap and he's potentially the future. But yeah, like if you're Seattle, if you get rid of Russ, there's no point in keeping Lockett because you're clearly not competing.
Yeah,
your
right.
roster is already the worst in your division. You have no chance of winning your division
See,
next year if you're
now-
Seattle. None. I'm sorry.
Seattle, I think the biggest play is
Even
gonna-
with Russell.
If Russ is truly available, I think the biggest offer is going to be the Jets
But I
the
don't.
second overall pick.
But he's not going to go to. He's not going to go to the Jets
and Sam Darnold.
Why wouldn't he though?
because he doesn't want. He's already
Talk
said,
about
he's already laid
ego.
out the four
They
teams he
still
wants to
talk
go to.
about Joe fucking Namath.
Dallas, Vegas, Bears, and what was the fourth team? There was a fourth team there
Was it
last week. We
Miami?
talked about last.
Everyone
probably
says,
Miami.
everyone says Miami.
Well,
Probably
yeah,
Miami.
You know, tax free.
Yeah,
Probably
tax-free.
Miami. But those are the four
No, but
teams.
think about New York.
Why
What
would-
is-
but
New
why
York
would
still
you-
hangs on to Joe Namath. You
But
talk about
if-
ego. You win something with New York. You're enshrined forever.
Yeah, but if you're Russ
And not
Wilson,
just in
why would you want to
Chicago.
play for a shit franchise like that? That is one of the shittiest,
Well,
most
they just
shitty-run
signed
operations in football.
whatever his name is, a coach, it's like Saleh. I don't know how to say
Oh,
his
yeah,
name. Robert
from
Saleh.
San
San
Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Salah.
who he was. We conveniently forget about how crappy his press conference was because Dan Campbell came out talking about chomping on kneecaps
This
and
is
shit.
true.
Oh my God.
So it's
And
just
when we
like,
get back up, we're gonna take a bite out you.
What? But no, this is like
Still
the
nothing is
Jets.
worth
I
an
wouldn't
Adam
touch the
Gase.
Jets with a 10-foot pole if I was Russ Wilson. Like, and that's the thing. And the same thing goes with Watson. Like, yes, the Jets and the Dolphins
Well, Sean, so what do you as Bill
Can
Belichick give
make-
up for Wilson?
make the best offer, but that doesn't mean that. But both guys have no trade clauses, so they have to want to go there. So it doesn't really matter what the offer is. It's the best offer they can get from a team that their player
That
is
we'll go to.
will agree to go
So
to.
how does he come to New England?
I don't think he does, and I think Joey's hit the nail on the head there. With Russell Wilson wants to be his own legacy starter in a franchise. Quarterbacks don't want to come here to play behind Brady to be the guy that played after Brady. Cam said it all last year, and Cam says, I'm the guy that came after Brady. And referred to himself as that. It's Cam fucking Newton. He was the first overall pick, and he says, I'm the guy after
He's
Brady.
a former MVP.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think Russell Wilson wants to stay as far away from New England as possible.
Yeah,
I would love it, but I don't think
it would be
I don't
fucking-
think it would happen.
It would instantaneously make the Patriots a 12,
Plus,
13 win team.
I think Seattle fans would instantly start a riot if you said we're trading our franchise quarterback to the Patriots, and people would be like, "I'm just going to kill myself."
I mean,
like-
they do that in Seattle anyway.
It's gonna
so.
go back to Chaz.
They're
all
going to be
over
like,
again.
"I'm going to climb that goddamn.
Remember Chaz? It's coming back, sucker.
Remember the summer of love, motherfucker?
Yeah, right.
I'm going to
Well,
climb
get
that
ready
space-
for the summer of hate.
With a vengeance.
the survey."
If you thought the summer of love was violent, wait till you see the summer of hate.
You guys like, I'm going to climb the Space Needle with like a box of Starbucks coffee, pour it on some people, and then kill myself.
Jeez.
Hey, it will. The reaction in Seattle would be bad if you traded anybody to the Patriots. I'm telling you. The
It would
hate
be bad,
they
but
have
it-
for New
but it
England is
wouldn't-
insane.
But it would depend on what they got in return for Russ, and that's the
And
thing.
Russ would be like, yes, I will go there.
So the thing with the Russ deal is, Seattle's looking to rebuild. We've gone over it. They have the worst roster in the division. Like even San Fran, sans a quarterback, is a better roster top to bottom than Seattle is.
Yep.
So
yeah,
Seattle's
San
going
Fran
to.
was very banged up last year.
And unfortunately for Seattle, they've done a poor job managing this roster around Russ Wilson for the last couple of years. And now they're in a position where Wilson doesn't want to play for them. They don't want him. They know they can get a boatload of picks and draft capital for him. So why not? And now is the time to do it. And I think before the season starts, I don't think Russ Wilson's a Seahawk.
No, and I think, when you were talking about the four teams, Dallas becomes the intriguing one, and this can segment into Dak shit too, because I'm going to bring it up.
Sure.
to sign and trade Dak for Russ.
Why would Dak do that though? Why would Dak and his camp do that?
If you're gonna get the
Money.
money that you want.
I don't want the franchise tag. If I'm Dak, I don't want the franchise
What do
tag.
you mean? No, I said sign and trade. Like, hey, you know what? All right, we're gonna take Russell Wilson off you. This is Dak's contract.
So he
We'll
would
trade
need
him
he would need to get franchise tagged because you can't do what you're proposing to do is basically an NBA style contract
Correct.
sign and trade, which never happens in the NFL because the contract what the hell was that?
Ads.
The contract like verbiage is so much that it's too complicated and you can't just exchange salaries like that in the NFL. So it would basically screw over Dak and his camp. So he'd have to get franchised, sign the franchise, and put himself at a liability to get screwed over by either the Cowboys or the Seahawks. So that's never going to happen unless Dak just flat out says, "I'm going to the Seahawks myself."
And let's not make sure we understand here. Right, as of right now, the Seahawks only have $11 million in cap space.
And
Now,
he's going to say, "I ain't playing for $11 million."
I know.
No fault.
Now, again,
no offense.
There's ways to make that work. That's not like a hard number where it's like, fuck, this can't
But
work.
you already know Russ wants Dallas.
But if they have to eat that $32 million this year, and they
still
only
have
have
to
a
get-
and then I don't think they can do both. I don't think you can sign Dak and eat the $32 million. So this would
But
have
Jerry's
to.
that weird dude. They'd be like, "I'll pay Russ."
But they'd have to get if they were.
I mean-
there are ways to get creative here. There are ways to get
you
creative.
know Jerry would find a way
but
to
it's
be
going
like,
to
"I
take
want
two
my
to
boy."
tango. You know what I'm saying? Like you're going to have to. The Cowboys are going to have to feel like, okay, fuck, like we can't make this work with Dak, which I don't think they feel that way. I think
No, they don't.
I think they feel like they can retain Dak and they'll be able to pay him. I think they're just both kind of playing hardball right now. But eventually, I
Which
think
Dak's been doing
I
this
honestly
from the
think
jump.
I think a deal gets done with Dak in Dallas.
Me too.
Deal gets done with Dak in Dallas.
Stamp it.
But that being said, we talked about it last week with the Russ and Dak switch. I don't know if it makes a ton of sense for Dak from Sean's standpoint to do it because the Seahawks can't give him the Patrick Mahomes money,
Right.
or just shy of Patrick Mahomes money that he's
I mean, they
wanted.
can if it's back-ended.
But they're not going to
fuck over to him.
But then he
No,
gets
but
dicked.
if you do guaranteed money and it's back-ended,
You can't
work.
do
do that.
guaranteed back ended.
No, you can't do that.
I'm saying, like, so this year would be like a 15 hit. Next year would be a 25 million hit. The year after that would be
No.
like if you guarantee 4 years of $120
Right, but
million.
you still got to guarantee that's still $120 million is going to come out. You can prorate it out.
That's what I'm saying.
And depending on how you structure it in terms of roster bonuses, signing
That's what
bonuses,
I mean.
things
It can
along
be
those
prorated
lines.
and you're not
The Patriots,
getting that
the
as a
Patriots
cap
did
hit.
it with Brady for years, and everybody was
Years.
like, Brady takes pay cuts to play here. It's like
No, you just don't see
I
it
don't
on the
even
front
know.
page.
I'm not.
You gotta
I'm
look
not
on
even
page
acknowledging it.
6.
Yeah. But no. But there's ways to do it. Like there is a way to do it. There is a way around it. The thing is, I don't know that Seattle's going to have the money to give Dak what he wants in terms of a contract. So I think
what
that's
teams do, because in Dak's eyes, he's still getting 40 a year.
Dallas.
Name another one
Indy before
before your boy.
my boy. Yeah.
Carolina.
boy.
I mean, I would
See,
say
Carolina's
I would say the Patriots,
intriguing.
but Belichick would never give that much money to a quarterback, and he would never give it to a guy who's coming off a massive knee injury.
Correct. Foot.
Oh, it was foot. My bad. That's right.
Gordon Hayward.
That's
You know
right.
who could give Dak all the money that he wants? New England.
Nope. I just said no.
He just said no.
I know they could.
They could.
mean,
but
they
won't.
could, but
I know
they won't.
I'm just saying that would be funny.
That'd be like, we're going to sign you for a year.
Could you
and see if
imagine?
you're healthy.
Could you imagine all the Patriot fans in New England like all of a sudden having to do a complete fucking 180 about face and like root for Dak Prescott?
I wouldn't. No, I don't think Dak Prescott's that great, but I wouldn't hate the deal. I mean, if it's like a short-term deal, yeah, whatever.
Well,
it
no,
works.
you're not getting a short-term deal with Dak. Like that's the thing. So
if it was
now-
like a
Listen,
Whatever.
You're
Right.
not getting
But
Cam Newton's again.
the thing
You're
with-
not
the
gonna
thing
get
with-
that,
the thing with Dak
superstar
and-
guy that's going to be on the cheap.
Cam's okay again.
No, Cam's going to come back.
Separate argument.
I don't know if Cam's coming
Separate
back.
segment.
We'll get into that after. But the thing with Dak's deal is I don't know that Dak like I think what Dak is asking for and what Dak's going to get are two very different things. And I
Oh,
think
and
the
we've been
reality
saying
that
that
is
for
going to
years.
set in because and I think if Dak didn't get hurt last year, then I think we're having a very different
Yeah,
conversation right now.
100%.
Oh.
I think
The
we're
deal-
talking. I think
the
we're
deal's
talking
already
close to
done.
Mahomes' money.
We're talking the deal's already done if he didn't get hurt last year.
Most likely.
Season's over. All right, we're signing Dak.
Or mid-season, they just give him
Yeah,
the
right. They're
extension.
just like, here you go, ball out.
Here you go. Go nuts.
Because
But-
if you remember, before he got hurt, he was balling out.
Yeah, he was carrying that team.
Yes.
dude, he was on pace to fucking put up some serious numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Serious.
I mean,
numbers.
we all know the on pace thing, but like he was
course.
carrying the thing, and then he went out, and that team was just like,
Yeah, right. And the
Dog
thing
shit.
with guys like in Dak's position, like, oh yeah, he was on pace to throw for 7,000 yards. Yeah, until he breaks down and gets hurt because it's impossible to fucking keep that level up the entire year.
Yeah, but you've seen him.
Duh.
He would have eclipsed 4,000 yards if he
Oh,
would have stayed healthy.
absolutely.
last year.
That's not a
Absolutely.
big deal
But that's
anymore.
4,000.
It's not a big deal anymore,
Half-
but for him, that's a big deal.
Not really.
Sure.
Dak? About 4,000 yards? Doesn't he throw for 4,000 like every year?
Consecutive seasons of 4,000 yards is a big deal.
Not really. I mean, half the league threw for
Yeah,
4,000
his
yards
first
this year.
year, he threw for like 18 to 2,200. The
Yeah,
next
because
year,
they
he
were-
threw for like
count.
26.
They were handing it off to Zeke.
And they have been handing it off to Zeke until like halfway through the end of last year and this past season.
they said
I
throw
think
it to
he's-
Zeke instead.
Yeah, he had 38, 85, and 18. He had 4,900 last year.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. All right. I didn't realize it was
Sweet
that high.
googly Jesus,
Yeah, I didn't think it was that high.
4,900.
Yeah, and 30 touchdowns and 11 interceptions too. So pretty good.
Oh, no,
interception.
he's never been a turnover machine.
No, so
He's never been a
Oh,
turnover
he must have been
machine,
so fucking
I don't know if
mad
he's.
to be
I don't know if he's Mahomes
tens of
money.
yards short of 5,000.
right?
He was. Yeah, he was 95
Ten-
yards.
Well, that's like AP, 6 yards short.
He's just screaming.
I think it was 11.
He's
No,
just
AP was
screaming at
6.
his
It
guys.
was that final drive, and he got one more run, and they were like, all right, we're going to kick the field goal.
No,
I was like-
no, it
I
was
was
the
like,
last play of the
no!
game. It was the last play of the game. They handed it to him, and he got dragged down at like the. I think maybe it was the 11-yard line. Because
It was
remember, I
11
had
yard line,
I
but he
had him on
6
my.
yards to go.
But I had him on my fantasy team that year, and I needed him to score. He would have scored me the touchdown that would
broke
have
the
won
record.
me the game.
Yep.
That would have probably. I think it would have won me the Super Bowl that year. And
would've
he
broke
would have
the
broke the
record.
record all in the same carry. If he had
God
just broke that
damn.
one last tackle, I was like, no! I was so fucking pissed.
Yeah,
I was
who
like,
was more
God
pissed,
damn
you or
it!
him?
Oh, definitely me. He was like laughing about
especially
it.
when the Vikings were like, all right, we're going to kick a field goal. He was like, man.
He was laughing about it.
He was
after
like, we
the game.
got
He's like,
time. Give me one more.
He was like, damn, I was that close? Shit. All right, I'm going to go beat my kid's balls with a branch. Anyway, and then he took off. But that was it. Yeah, I was definitely more mad because I lost a fantasy championship because of it. But it was a bummer. Bummer. Huge bummer. Actually, no, it wasn't a fantasy championship. It would have been, I think it was a DFS thing. So it was
So,
week 17.
so not to get too far off track, let's come down to what we think. Russell Wilson,
Yes.
does he stay or does he go?
I think Russ is gone. You know, I don't think he's a Seahawks.
If he's
next year.
gone, where?
Chicago. That's my guess.
What do you think?
I do
That's what
think-
everything's pointing to right
I
now.
do think he leaves, but I'm like 80-20. He's gone. I'm not going to cement it because weird shit fucking happens.
True.
I think Seattle does the whole stalemate. They say, just do it. Like, make us pull the trigger. I think that he stays in Seattle and he's just unhappy.
But see, that's the 20%. Like, I don't see him. All right. My mind tells me he goes. My heart tells me he might stay.
My mind's telling me yes.
Pretty
And
much,
then
but my body.
let's flip the coin.
My
We're talking about Dak.
my body.
I'll go first on this one. Dak is 100% staying in Dallas. I have never faulted from this. They got Mike McCarthy to coach Dak, and I think they both are meant for each other.
I
They
agree.
need Dak to do well, and Dak wants to be there to do well and show them.
Well,
The bigger part of that is nobody else is going to pay Dak money besides Dallas.
I can all.
It's a great marriage right now.
I will just about guarantee this, and I say just about because you can never underestimate the stupidity.
Tomorrow
of
morning at 9 a.m.,
Yeah,
Dak
right?
Prescott signs with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, no shit. You never underestimate the stupidity of an NFL GM. But I will guarantee Dak Prescott plays this year for the Dallas Cowboys. Whether it's on a new deal or the tag, he is playing for the Dallas Cowboys.
I think
in-
if it's
in
a tag, it's
2021.
just so they have time to make a deal.
Right, but even if you're Dak, why wouldn't you play on the tag? Like, there's no reason for Dak to hold out. Like, if he plays on the tag, he plays on the tag. That's
The
what
tag's going to be $38
I
million.
was going to say. $38 million coming off of an injury.
Think about that.
Oh.
$38 million.
After taxes, he probably gets like 25.
Yeah,
But you
it's
got to figure
Texas.
though.
I'm just
It's
fucking
Texas.
But imagine though, $38 million is all fine and well, but a long term deal gets you 110, 120.
I get it. But look at
You
his
know?
last 3 years. What has he made? $100 million.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
3 tags, $100 million. So no
God
long-term
damn.
deal. But
He's definitely
same-
made his money,
listen,
don't get me
same
wrong.
$100 million.
but he's looking. But Dak, I think, is a guy that's going to be around for a long time. And,
Yeah, I don't
and
s-
if you give Dak peace of mind with his contract and you just keep him there, I think this guy could be an MVP. I really do believe Dak is that good. I mean, look what he did. Look what he did when they brought in Amari Cooper and he made Amari Cooper look good, for fuck's sake. Like, that's impressive. That's not easy to do. Derek
Michael
Carr couldn't
Gallup's
do
been
it.
a stud with him.
Mm-hmm.
Derek Carr couldn't do it.
No?
You know?
Well,
And-
Derek Carr and Cooper had one good year, and then Cooper just forgot how to catch the damn ball.
Yeah, and then Akeem Talib went over to Michael Crabtree and was like, "Give me your chains, bitch." Amari Cooper was like, "I ain't fucking with that man. See you later, bye."
So,
Damn.
so I guess that kind of ends that segment with the quarterback shuffle. I mean, but we can talk about other things that happened today too. Is that
Well, the last thing, the last thing we wanted to talk about with the quarterbacks was Watson apparently had a Zoom meeting with the Houston Texans brass.
was it Zoom? I thought it was in person.
It was a conference call, so I don't know if that was a
It was
Zoom meeting.
probably the Zoom.
It was an it was a face-to-face meeting.
No
is
wonder
what they
he
were
was so
calling it.
cocky then.
So he basically told the Texans he has zero interest in playing for the Texans next year,
Ever.
and he is totally fine with sitting out next year if he has to.
And I think he would
No, not just next year.
forever.
Like forever. His his
Oh
his
yeah,
camp
yeah,
was.
right. He said that. Right. Well, he would have to.
Well, his contract's up in 3 years.
he
so
would
can
sit
for
out. He
3
would sit
years.
out next year, and then the year after, and then he was a free agent.
Yep,
So
2 years.
And he would lose millions of dollars by doing so. So
he would lose, I think, $20 million this year.
wow. So that's a big.
Well, it's not lose; it's just not earn.
That's so money lost instead of money
That's-
earned.
That's losing.
But it's not money in your account that you're paying back. Like it's just.
I get it. No, I get
Never
it. I get
seen
what
it,
you mean,
never
but
have
still, it's money that you should have made, but that you won't
Yes.
get it. So it's
Yes.
gonna hit the bottom
But in his
line.
eyes, why am I going to walk out there and potentially get myself killed on
But
this trash team?
his time and his lifespan is precious money. He's never gonna get that $20 million back though. Too, if
This
you think
is true.
about it.
No, he won't.
Le'Veon Bell.
No,
Yes.
he could get it back because he's a quarterback. Le'Veon Bell, two totally different things. Totally different.
But just like money lost because
But he basically told the Texans
Fuck you.
he double-barreled the Texans. He was like, "Nope, fuck you, not playing here."
and the most dialed-in reporter of Texas, which I'm glad you brought this up, John McClain.
John McClain.
Not
No,
to be confused.
no
with
correlation.
Bruce Willis.
This man is about four Bruce Willises put together. He's a large
And
man.
to quote Wade Phillips,
So he
I
ate
sometimes
hard with
wondered if
vengeance.
John was in the meeting rooms with us. That's how tapped in John McClain is.
Very true. And he says now is the time to trade Deshaun Watson, no matter who is GM, who owner is. They're saying, like, listen, everyone's going to get a free pass. No one's going to hold it to Caserio. No one's going to hold it to
Right.
Jack Easterby. They're just going to
But
be like,
just
you know
get
what?
the most you can for him.
You just got to get rid of him.
Right, because they came into the situation, they got hired to do the job, and Deshaun
They
Watson
are-
was like, "Nope,
They are Bobby
I'm out."
Valentine. Hey,
And I think Watson was out no matter what. I think
Yes.
there was only a few, maybe one or two people that could have come in and taken that job that
Yep.
Watson would have been okay with. But like J.J. Watt, like DeAndre Hopkins, like Clowney,
They were done.
like Watson, they see the writing on the wall, and they're just, Cal McNair is not doing a great job. That they're losing that team. It's a poorly run organization right now. It's not on the upswing. It's bad. It's
it's gonna
really,
take time.
really fucking bad. And you're right. It's going to take time, but it's also going to take a full blown rebuild. And if you really believe
And look,
that,
if Miami's offering what we thought they were offering, you fucking jump.
No, apparently Miami's
They're
not offering
that.
anything.
Yeah.
yeah, and again, you apparently have Miami and the Jets who can offer they can offer
The
the
best
two best
package,
deals
yeah.
clearly. But Watson apparently is not all that interested in either one of those.
No.
And if you're Miami, look, I get it. If you're Miami, you want to make the deal. You give up Tua. You give it the third overall pick. But also, if you drafted Tua in the first round, that means you believe in Tua and you believe he can be good. So do you take that third round pick? You take the receiver out of Bama. You pair him back up with Tua.
Well,
and
there's
you
been
build that
reports out of
offense?
Miami
I mean,
saying that they want to pair up Tua with his boy from
right.
Alabama.
So do you
Which
give
makes
up,
sense.
Do you give up Tua that pick and more, and get Watson, or do you roll with the guy that you believed in to begin with? Take the year, let him develop, surround him with some
Yeah, but
weapons
see,
and some
but there-
talent.
there's the big thing right there. Let him develop.
Right.
How many guys we'd be like, give him a year or two, he'll be good, and then all of a sudden a year or two later they're a
I
backup somewhere
couldn't
they've
agree
never seen
more,
again.
and that's why. And
Whereas
that's
Deshaun Watson, you know what you're getting. You've seen him on
exactly,
the field.
and that's
You're getting him as the commodity. not
that's
him as
kind of the
hope.
rock and the hard place that Miami is in right now. But again, if they truly believe in Tua, which they must have
hard
to have
rock
taken
place.
that high,
Was he third overall? Was that what it was?
yeah.
Tua,
Right.
yeah, he was 3.
Then you've got to you obviously saw something in him to take him at 3. Otherwise, you would have you would have punted and kicked back 2-3 picks or whatever,
Well, you could have taken Herbert later.
or they would have taken Herbert later. It is what it is. So
I mean, look.
Again, Miami
and
on
we've talked
paper-
about Tua for years. You look at Tua, you look at the skill set, you look at what he brings on the field, just the things that he had in college. He's an accurate, quick snap quarterback. He's somewhat mobile. He can get out the pocket and make the play. And we've seen it. Over the middle, he was great last year. Try to throw outside numbers, not so much. but
not too great.
listen, I think Tua's a gamer.
But you
I
can
think,
get
I think he
there.
can be,
That's what you learn in the NFL. The speed is different when you're throwing a 15-yard out compared to in college. You're going to have instant separation in college, whereas in the NFL, not so much.
Yeah,
You
it's
got
the
to dart
best of
that
the
throw.
best.
Right. So that's a learning curve. But I do really think Tua can get there. But he has to do it. We could all say we could do it. Like, oh, yeah, we can do this. And if we can't do it, we can't do it.
I just don't know. If he doesn't want to go to Miami, he doesn't want to go to the Jets. Those are the two highest options. Jacksonville is so dead set on Trevor Lawrence. That's never going to change.
As they should be.
Indy is taken. That was probably the
Where?
best place for him to
Where
go.
does Watson even have a chance of going now? Get back to Chicago, it feels like. Chicago is like the main spot.
Denver.
Okay, Denver, that's
Yeah,
right.
Denver's big.
The profile pick. How can I
Denver,
forget that?
Yeah.
Denver's been.
I mean, Denver's there.
Denver's
available.
already said they're all in on Watson if he's available. When the Texans make him available, the general has come out and said they are all in on Deshaun Watson if he's available, or at least there have been reports.
They're gonna.
He hasn't said it because he
they're gonna
can't say it
push.
because he can't alienate
Tampering.
his own.
I
Well,
didn't know that little
Oh,
guy.
Not
worked for
tampering, but you
Broncos.
don't want to give your hand out.
well, no, he can't alienate Drew Lock.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Huh.
So
The little military guy with the white mustache and the green hard hat, the general, works for the Broncos.
with
Didn't
Shaq.
know that.
Yeah.
What, the insurance guy?
Yeah,
don't
call
know,
for the
General.
general.
Great
Save
little
some
rate.
time.
Yeah.
For a great real late. Right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I was gonna do, and then he just fucking skipped
Yeah.
right to the end.
I always forget how it goes. I know the rhythm of the da, but I don't know it.
Great low rate that can save you time. I mean, no, for a great low rate,
Close enough.
You can play online, call the general
Whatever.
and save some
And then
time.
she's Shaq and like a Mazda Miata. He's like, "Call me, bitch," and he just drives away.
I like the general. This is what I do.
My trunk is full of Papa John's.
But no, I think Chicago's a spot, but I don't know if Watson's interested in Chicago.
I wouldn't
That's
be.
the thing. Like right now, the teams that Watson was rumored to be interested in, I think Denver's the only one left of those
or
teams
Chicago. That's it.
that
Yeah, but I
really.
don't think he ever really said Chicago.
There was a lot of.
And I don't think Chicago could put together a package that would be better than the Broncos.
What about New Orleans?
No, dude, the New Orleans thing.
If they could magically make the money work
Oh,
somehow.
that's where that was the fourth team for
New
for
Orleans?
Russ.
Oh, for Russ?
Yes,
That
and
was the fourth
that
team.
video. If we can go back to Russ really quick, the mayor of New Orleans basically came out twirling the umbrella like "fuck Drew Brees and his wife," twirling it. The mayor of New Orleans tagged Sierra and Russell Wilson saying, "Come on down," and like all the comments are, "You're broke." Your team's
legit.
negative 78 million. How you paying this man in crack? And then everyone just trashing her. And then Drew Brees, hours later, has a video hit the internet of him working out at a CrossFit facility, running in traffic. I'm like, this man is like either so pissed or he's just like, you know what? I'm not retiring to screw the city over now.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm gonna. Oh,
Right.
oh, you want me out that bad? Fuck.
Because he still hasn't
you.
officially retired.
He is not.
Yeah, and he has a new hairline.
And that contract with
true.
NBC or whatever it is, it starts whenever he retires.
Whenever,
Exactly.
yeah, there's no like, oh, it's
No-
2021.
yep,
No, it's
nothing.
He
when
did a
you
good.
retire.
He did a good brother thing though. He already gave like the brother deal to the team, and he restructured his contract so they actually had some less money. So if he did come
Right.
back, it was on a lesser amount.
Right.
So he did a good thing already, but I don't know. Does he come back now? Because what, he doesn't want to go out like the way he did. Was I'm looking like shit and
Oh, dude,
taking a big
he
loss.
He had a wet noodle.
We all assumed he was retiring because he was like crying leaving the stadium. Like
when he gave his look back,
he looked back at the stadium. He was like,
"Ah."
he's like, goodbye, loyal fans of New Orleans. Nobody there.
nobody there. Or maybe he was looking at it like, damn, I can't walk out like this.
I can't walk out like this. There's nobody here.
There's nobody here to put my helmet up in the air.
In 50 years, they're gonna be like, Drew Brees was so hated, nobody showed up to his final
Hey,
game.
for real, right?
Nice. 774-9928-702. You guys take this away. Keep this. What do you guys? You gonna talk about some cards real quick? Can we do that? Can
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
talk some? Can you fill 5 minutes while I left the vodka downstairs?
Wow, shocker!
job.
That there's an alcohol shot. So Keith, tell us about some of the card stuff we got going on in the. I don't know what he's saying right
Vodka
now.
makes you stay warm up here in shorts.
No, I could wear shorts all the time.
I don't know.
But
It's a little chilly. It's a
come
little
on, let's
chilly.
talk about some cards. What's going on in the local New Bedford card scene?
I mean, obviously the card scene's popping off much more than it has been in recent years.
Crazy.
Especially within the past 6 months. I mean, the spike that you see in breaks and videos.
Oh my God.
Just pull. I mean, it seems like everybody everywhere all of a sudden is like, oh, hey, look at this card that I pulled the other day.
It's like, hey, would you like this new box of potential 2021 basketball rookies? I'm like, oh, sure. How much? Just your whole week's pay. I'm like, listen,
yeah,
man.
legit. I mean,
the box prices are like.
The spike in the Donruss comes out tomorrow. Basketball 2021.
Okay.
Donruss basketball. It's
I'm assuming.
$1,000 hobby box.
My God.
$1,000.
Everyone's just going for the LaMelos, right?
Right, LaMelos, the Wisemans. I mean, those guys are there. And then obviously, I mean, listen, you pull a second-year Zion fucking autograph that's still in the money. Trey autograph that's still in the
I don't
money.
know. I feel like
John
Zion.
Morant,
Everyone's like, we out.
the dude's balling out.
Zion?
Yeah, the dude's balling out.
I have not kept up
yeah,
to
no,
date.
he's balling out.
Hi, good for him.
He's averaging like 24 a game, like 8 rebounds. Like the dude's balling out.
How's his shoes doing? His shoes staying intact?
They staying intact.
You know what cards I like? I like the Noir series.
The Noir with the sneakers.
Yeah, those
I
are
like the patch
really
cards.
smooth looking.
So I mean, obviously cards are getting big. People are starting to get more into it and collecting older guys.
Yeah.
Obviously like the Bo Jacksons, the old Ken Griffey's are coming back around again.
I know you're hunting for one of those
I
right now.
myself just purchased a few boxes of 89 and 90
Now-
old school baseball.
Now tell me this. Now, at the shop where you're selling cards right now, it's only basketball, baseball, football?
No. We right now in store, yes.
Okay.
But we have orders of like soccer's on the way for this week.
Okay.
I'm getting some racing cards in. We're gonna get some wrestling cards in, UFC. So
All right.
we're gonna have a bunch of different.
Now,
stuff
see,
going.
I kind of hopped out of me personally. I kind of hopped out of the like basketball, football, baseball scene. Like 3-4 months ago, I started getting into the wrestling cards.
Oh yes, you did.
And I've been like hot and heavy in the wrestling
your
cards.
Randy Savages you've been showing me have been pretty nice.
Oh, I bought some 1985 bubblegum Randy Savage rookie cards. They're about like this big.
Yeah.
I bought them. I bought 4 of them for $40, and I was like,
shit.
$10 a pop, not a big deal. One of those right now, ungraded, raw, $145 per card. So that is a
It's a major upcoming.
massive, and I plan on sending them to PSA. PSA right now, by the way,
Well, before you do,
fuck you.
see me.
Okay.
Because with PSA going up in grading,
And price.
our cutting cards is going to have something wonderful for grading.
Please do,
Very
because
soon.
I would love to send you like a shit
Very
ton of
soon.
cards.
Yep, very
Speaking of wrestling, did you guys see the Randy Orton/T-Bar/Soldier Boy Twitter beef that was going on?
We will get to that.
I did
Okay.
not,
We will
but
get
I
to
would be
that.
Glad to see.
I heard about that. I did not read it, but we will get to that.
So a lot, like I was saying, a lot of people are collecting old, like myself included. I'm
Yep.
chasing all kinds of old cards right now, and you can still find them decently cheap certain places. I mean, obviously people know what you're hunting for, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you want to buy my box? Well, it cost me 50 cents, but I'm gonna charge you $50."
Yeah, so you have
know
a
what
lot
I'm
of psychopaths that don't have jobs right now.
That are
And
just
no offense to
No
anybody
offense.
out
No,
there.
but that's their hustle.
If you go to Target at 7 a.m. and the door's open,
it's lined up,
and they're like, "Give me all these Pokemons."
and honestly, and that's kind
Shut up.
of that's hurting. The
that was
hobby.
McDonald's, wasn't it? Was it McDonald's the
McDonald's
It is
Pokemon
has
thing?
Happy
McDonald's.
Meals. No. McDonald's had the Happy Meals, but
Right.
Target sells the trainer boxes and all that stuff. Don't get it twisted. You walk into Target any point in your day, or Walmart any point in your day.
Any Pokemon cards are hard again?
Oh yeah.
I thought it was like only old school stuff. I know someone traded a house for a first edition box of Pokemon cards. A fucking house.
I lucked out one day. I walked
A
into
place you
Target.
can live.
They had Trainer Elite boxes. I paid $50 for the box. I went home with my kids and we opened it. And I don't know what we got for cards. My boy's gonna check them out for me and let me know if they're good or not. But Dave was sitting there like a pig and shit, like, "Oh my god, we got this guy. Oh jeez, I don't care if it's worth money. I just want to play with him." I'm
It's
like, okay,
Mewtwo's
yeah,
pubes.
legit. Like,
Oh my
saying,
God.
Like VMAX cards. There's all kinds of crap. Now.
Keith, I kid you not. I
Just
watched.
hit me off with that fucking first gen Snorlax, kid. What?
Nah, he's got the Charizard that everybody
Oh
wants.
damn! I got a full set of 1938 German boxing. Jesus Christ, that's
Good shit,
impressive.
Sarah. Yeah.
When I saw that video over the weekend or last weekend, a man bought a $375,000 box of Pokemon cards. The first box of Pokemon cards that came out when we were kids, unopened, sealed, and he's like $375,000.
When they bought it.
And he goes, me and like several people bought it. He goes, people offered houses straight up for this box of cards. I'm like, imagine going to a broker in 2021 just being like, I got to sit down with you really seriously. I got to get rid of this house because I got a box of cards I want. And the guy is just like,
You're
What?
an idiot.
Well, all right. So, like I was saying, if you walked into any Target or Walmart right now at any point in your day, there's people sitting there watching the shelf.
which is insane to me. This is like, remember when we were kids, people were doing like the Tickle Me Elmos and shit like that?
Yes.
People were like hunting those
Or
things.
that and what was the other? Beanie Babies.
Beanie Babies,
was-
Cabbage
Listen,
Patch Kids, like
PlayStation
in the
3.
80s.
PlayStation 3 was the first major overhaul.
No,
PlayStation,
PS2.
Nah, I was like
No,
Furby and shit too.
PS2 wasn't like that because the pre-orders weren't limited. PS3 when it came out, GameStops, Best Buys, and what was the other store? What was the other bit? Circuit City. Limited. 10 per store pre-order. All right? Me and myself and two of the managers that I worked with at Town Fair went to GameStop an hour early. We were on break. Got 3 of the 10 that were on pre-order. okay?
Yeah.
Completely forgot about the date because it was months in advance.
Yep.
I show up in the morning one day to work, and my boss is all like, "Oh, today's gonna be a good day." I'm like, "Dude, it's fucking Tuesday. Why is it gonna be great?" He goes, "It's PS3 day." I'm like, "Oh shit." $700 I spent on PS, Madden, and an extra controller. I walked out of there to guys literally being like, "I'll give you $1,000 right now," and I'm like, "No, I'll give you $1,500."
Here's my wife.
This dude was like, "I'll give you $2,400 for 2 of them."
What the fuck?
Now I'm sitting there and I'm like, "Bro, you could offer me $3,000. I ain't selling it to you. It's mine. I've been waiting for it. I'm going home and playing. You know this. I think you came over
$3,000.
my house that night with T and Tommy."
Dinus is one of those kids. He's more infatuated with being the first one on the block to have the cool new video game system.
Yeah.
$3,000. I'd be like,
No, I just said that because the dude was like, "I'll give you $2,400 for 2," and my boy looked at me and was like, "Bro, that's double the money." I was like, "So then sell yours for $1,200. I'm keeping mine," and I did, and I still have it.
I would probably sing here.
But that was like the first time that
I literally
something-
I think mine's in a
that some-
box like right behind
But
me.
dude, but
somewhere.
that was
That's
the
last
first time
I
that
used it.
something new came out. I'm stealing.
Wait a
this,
minute.
man.
I have to use. Maybe that's what I use. No, okay. I got no
That was the
idea.
first time that something new came out and people were doing the hustle. Cards right now, because of the way the autographs are and inserts, silvers, parallels, all that bullshit.
grading.
Dude,
Do the hustle.
they are selling
Wrong song.
for ridiculous fucking money.
No, it's
if
not.
if you luck out at Target and you spend
It's the
$20
exact
on a
right
pack,
song, you idiot.
right?
Okay.
And you hit a fucking Justin Herbert autograph.
Yep.
Guy, that $30 that you just spent at Target just made you $700.
Okay, we didn't talk about this at all, and I'm assuming you're gonna know the news. Like I've heard the news the last few days. What the fuck is like blockchain for cards?
You
And
mean
why
the
did somebody
Top
pay
Shot or the blockchain?
Top Shot?
So Top Shot is something new.
It's digital
It's
cards.
digital video cards.
It's like a digital 10-second clip.
It's a digital card.
Some kid in one of my group chats told me to invest in that in the start, and I was like, what? And then he
Well,
did.
someone just bought a LeBron one for like, what's it, $5 million?
No, it was 1 point something.
And
And then Giannis sold right after that for 1.7.
Oh,
And then Luka Doncic, a one-of-one logo,
Yep.
signed. Was it? That's not even a rookie. $4.6 million over the weekend, ungraded.
Yep.
Ungraded raw.
And I think
can't
a
even.
lot of that, though, I get worried about as air. That's somebody that owns the company that he signed with, that he's doing whatever, and they're like, "Hey, we're just going to put a ridiculous number
It doesn't
on this."
matter. It inflates
get
the
it.
price of everything else.
Absolutely, it does.
Because if I had a if I had a Luka,
if I had a
if I had-
donk.
Listen, if you had a Donkin' Donk,
If
we'd
I-
be having issues.
if I had a-
over here, you know, I'm just saying. Just saying.
I wear sweatpants everywhere.
And you're gonna love the
Juicy.
Luka talk, 'cause when he talks,
And
he
then
talks like these.
if I have a Luka auto like to 99.
If Sean wore the, if Sean.
Oh wait, no,
if-
don't
no,
jump
no,
in, don't
no,
jump
no,
in.
no, no.
If I had a Luka auto to 99, and a one of one just sold for $4.6 million, I'm gonna put that card for like $10,000 and be like, someone's definitely gonna buy this.
And they would.
It's crazy right now. Like you could basically buy a box for $1,000, like you said. Tomorrow's coming out with boxes, and if you hit like a Kobe Bryant like legacy card, or you hit like a Blanca again, Luka, a Luka auto,
Deshaun
you hit
Foster.
a LaMelo rookie auto. That's like you can put down like you could pay off like your debt.
Yes, but what happens when you pay $1,000 and you auto some bench rider for the Mavs or the Nets?
That's the gamble. It's gambling.
Exactly.
It's gambling.
So this is the crazy part about it is prices are inflating. Everything's going skyrocketing. PSAs going up in their price. So what we're gonna
was
offer,
insulting.
what we're gonna offer soon is gonna be
Pornhub.
exponential.
Oh, okay.
Coming soon to
Speaking
a,
of-
to
but-
a
Are you
future
gonna-
review.
All right. I don't know the answer to this, but are you gonna do like a group submissions kind of thing, and it's gonna be like a discounted rate?
Maybe.
Okay, maybe. All right.
What
Listen.
saying do you think Sean would wear
to be continued.
on the ass of his sweatpants if he was gonna? Would it be juicy?
What for the badonkadonk?
Yeah.
Well, I already had an answer before you even said anything.
No, I'd have to be like
Love.
love pink.
No, it would not be pink. Absolutely not.
Cum dumpster.
No, that's too long.
Beavis and Butthead. Slots.
Slots.
I got great slots over here.
Full house.
Ooh, Full House is a
Full
good one.
House is good.
And then down the leg, whatever happened to the like the lyrics.
Dot 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 on the other side.
I like that
Hey,
a
listen,
lot.
Dot dot dot. Predictability.
Yeah, and then like on the calves, like the different faces everywhere you look. That's a great idea. I might just make that myself.
I was just thinking more along the lines of your fat ass in sweatpants. It just says Full House on the back instead of juicy.
Playing birdie in the backyard.
It'd just be hilarious.
It's getting a little too.
That's where I was going with this. I don't know where you guys are going with this, but that's where I was.
So
going with it.
going back to the cards for 1 second before we get to our next topic, we can talk free
this is
agency.
going to transition into
Yep.
a topic anyway.
Well,
So
but let me just say, if I am someone who's a buyer and I go to your shop and I say, hey, I'm looking for this, can you get that from me, even if you don't have it there that day?
more likely than not.
All right, cool. That's good. Well, you can reach out through us to the Row One Seat page,
Yeah.
and we can get you in contact with Mr. Darkness himself, and he can order you some.
Mr. Darkness, I like that.
What's professional
It's
now?
the Mr. lady. Remember her?
Yeah,
I
Mr.
think,
Mr.
I think I
We're
killed her.
gonna get you cards. It says professional card dealer.
Mr.
Mr. So hey, it's great.
So,
Awesome.
but speaking of cards, a lot of things that are going on now is people are jumping into old school Hall of Famers and such like that. Like we're saying, I'm looking
Oh,
for
for sure.
Griffey and Bo Jackson and shit right now. But old school cards of Hall of Famers that have signatures or inserts back in the day
Yep.
are fetching some serious money because guys that were in it back then are now back in it now.
Yep.
So you're seeing a spike in the Barry Sanders cards and Warren Moons, Joe Montana's, older Hall of Fame guys that haven't played in forever, that cards got forgotten about that now are starting to resurface. And Dan Fouts is a card that's been coming up more and more because he's a Hall of Fame quarterback from the late 80s, late 70s, early 80s. Now, Joey brought up something earlier today about Dan Fouts being in the Hall of Fame because what was that on? Who shared that? Was it on Twitter or?
I saw this. It was just a random meme. I'll pull it up here in a second.
So the meme is, if Dan Fouts is in the Hall of Fame, then why is Drew Bledsoe not in the Hall of Fame? And if you look at the stats, Drew Bledsoe beats every stat that Fouts has.
Almost every stat.
No, I'm pretty sure it's every stat.
I think he loses.
It's close.
I think he loses Pro Bowls, to be honest with you.
It's close, but it's
I think
it's
Bledsoe
not
made
everyone.
6.
No, I think he only made 4.
Was it 4? Well, he made not rookie year, but second year.
96.
No, he
94.
made it second year.
94.
He made it 5 and 6.
Year 5 and 6, 96, 97.
No, he made it 95, 96.
Yep.
Then he made it
Bless you.
98, 99.
No, I think
Yeah, he made it the Carroll
definitely
years.
he made it one of these. He did not make it at 99.
Pro Bowls, Fouts win 6-4. All right, let's pull up the
It was
meme.
4.
So here's the meme in question. So this brought up an argument because we kind of started debating this. Like he said, Dan Fouts is in the Hall of Fame, and Drew Brees is not. And you can see right there on the
Bledsoe.
screen. What did I say? Drew Brees?
Breeze.
Drew Brees definitely going to the Hall of Fame.
Breathe.
Drew Brees.
Oh man, we haven't had a wet kid in a
Oh,
long
yeah.
time.
Well, he's out of football.
Oh,
so.
Blake Bortles.
He should be, but Blake Bortles still in football.
Barely.
Former Denver Bronco, great
Actually, no,
Blake Bortles.
he's a free agent. I don't think anybody signed him.
No, he's a free agent. He was on the Broncos this year, on and off. There was a Blake Bortles era in Denver this year. It was fantastic.
This is true.
So there's the number. So you've got wins, Bledsoe 98, Fouts 86. Yards, Bledsoe just edges Fouts 44-6 to 43, almost even. Touchdowns, Fouts has him beat by 3, 254 to 251. Interceptions, Bledsoe wins with only 206 to Fouts' 242. Pro Bowls, Fouts went to more. Super Bowls, Bledsoe obviously went to the 1. Did not win it, but went to it and was there. So it just brings up.
Goddamn Bill Passos.
We were
and his
discussing
quitting on
this.
the team.
We Keith and I discussed this before the show started. Why isn't Bledsoe in the Hall of Fame, and why is Dan Fouts in the Hall of Fame? And I thought it was a pretty decent conversation because statistically they're both pretty much on par with each other.
Well, in numbers, we always talk about, and especially if we go back 10, 15 years ago, 40,000 yards, over 200 touchdowns. Those were standards that we were like, you need at least this to be considered, right?
Like we should make the benchmark like Eli Manning. Like Eli Manning's numbers are that's what you got to hit to get the Hall of Fame now.
Yeah, but Eli's not going to make the Hall of Fame, I don't think.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
but
he
Eli's
is.
a 500 quarterback.
Oh, he's
no.
absolutely.
What do you
gonna
throw?
I
What
think
was
that's a
his
good
yardage?
debate.
1,000%.
Hold on. What was his yardage?
Eli?
Oh, he has a lot of yards.
Did he end up throwing for over 50?
Yeah,
think
he's
he
up
hit-
there.
I don't think he hit
I think he's
50.
top 10 all time.
I didn't think he hit 50.
Dude,
I thought it was
57.
57.
Dude, was he?
Oh, okay.
57,000.
Is he number like 8 all time?
57,000 yards, 366 touchdowns, 244 interceptions.
Well, yeah, all right.
The
so
thing with-
the bar
the thing with
shouldn't
E-
be Eli Manning.
The thing,
then,
no, the thing
because
with
he's
Eli though,
almost
people
60,000.
are really debating if Eli's gonna make the Hall of Fame.
Well,
Which is stupid. He's making the Hall of Fame.
He should.
Anybody who's debating that is either blind,
It's
deaf.
national media.
the only reason why they
They're-
say it is
It's a-
because
it's a-
his
it's a hardcore
interception
debate.
issues.
There's
so
no-
many seasons under 500.
There's no
Well,
debate.
I mean,
Eli
I
Manning's
get
a Hall of
that,
Famer.
but when your team's in turmoil and you're still putting up numbers, that shows something.
Without
for you as a
Eli
quarterback.
Manning, what would the Giants have done for the last 15 years?
Absolutely nothing.
Right. So there you go.
They would have had Philip Rivers.
And they probably would have did the same thing. What they had with Eli Manning.
So they would have been 8-8, 7-9.
So-
But they probably could have won a couple of Super Bowls.
So hey, Philip Rivers is
You
retired.
take out Eli Manning, you put Phillip Rivers on those two teams that
Is-
won Super Bowls, and I think it's the same result,
Is Philip Rivers a Hall of Famer?
I'm okay with that. Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I mean,
Philip Rivers hands down is a Hall of Famer. You don't pass Dan Marino in
Correct.
touchdowns and yards
Yep.
and not go to the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry.
So, like, to the same point, I mean, what we're talking about today's day. If we go back 15 years ago, those weren't the numbers that we were talking about because it wasn't the offensive
Right.
explosion that we've had.
50,000 and like 300 touchdowns was kind of like or 250 touchdowns was what you were looking at.
Well, but if you go back even further, it was 40,200 touchdowns.
Well,
And
right.
Pro Bowls.
Look at Fouts, for example. 40,000 yards,
right,
254 touchdowns, but 242
42
interceptions.
picks. Yep.
That's a lot of fucking
That's
picks.
almost a 1-to-1.
Right, but Terry Bradshaw, 212 touchdowns, 210 interceptions.
1-to-1.
Almost 1-to-1. Like that's
It's different times.
Different
I get it.
times, yep.
But like when I watched Bledsoe, all the years he was a Patriot, I never was like, "Oh, this is a surefire Hall of Famer."
No, I don't think I look. And people that don't know, I'm probably one of the biggest Bledsoe fans you ever meet. That dude was my guy. I was a Patriots fan
I
because
think I only
of
know
Bledsoe.
one other person that likes Bledsoe more than you.
This is true.
Elvis?
Yes, actually,
Yes.
the alien.
Mhm.
He's dead. Elvis.
No, he's alive. I seen him at a gas station the other day.
This is true. This is true. Probably in 3 different
He was
areas
eating,
at the same
he
time.
was eating gas station sushi. He's in there going, Otama.
Then he did a.
He should
But look, biggest Bledsoe fan. Him, Ben Coates, like all those guys. Those were my guys growing up. I liked the Patriots because of Bledsoe. I was
Yep.
a fan until they let go of Bledsoe, and
Yep.
then go Bills Mafia. I mean, whatever. I didn't
You've
care.
not been Bill's Mafia.
I did.
Yeah, he did.
I went to the game with him, screaming for the Bills.
Yeah. I went wearing my Shannon Sharp Broncos jersey. Keith had a Bledsoe at Eric Mold's jersey
Eric
on, right?
Mold's jersey.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Guy, I would listen. He got traded to the Cowboys. I rooted for them fucking Cowboys too.
He was dem boys.
I was them boys for a couple years. Then Roma came in. I was like, the fuck is
And
this shit?
you know Keith's not lying because if you go back to 2005, Keith had the perfect like chin strap.
Yep.
Oh, I think I
Lineup.
say. I think I say Keith
And
had a
he
teardrop.
definitely had those Jordans, those team Jordans. He definitely had those.
So-
and he definitely rocked jorts.
So Keith,
No.
Keith, did you?
Yeah, you definitely
you-
rocked jorts.
No.
Are
You
you
don't. Bro.
100% fan of what team is your favorite team? Just so you can clarify for the listeners.
What do you mean?
Who's your favorite NFL team?
49ers.
Okay. Just so in case anybody gets to feel they're like, wait,
Bang,
he's a
bang,
Patriot-
nine again.
He's a Patriot fan. He's a Buffalo fan. He's a Cowboy
All right,
fan.
so look, my issue is
a-
I attach to players more than I do to teams. That's my issue.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a Celtics fan.
Jordan.
Jordan in the league. Who the fuck's the Celtics?
Oh, I didn't know what that said. I thought that was like some kind of ridiculous language.
It was
The
it was
better
like
part
it
is-
was
Yao
uh,
Ming.
If
it
you
was
look- if
it
you
was
look
an
on the
air
back-
raid offense.
Listen, if you look
Texas
at
Tech.
the back
What do you-
shoulder, it says air, and it has a Jordan symbol. Jenna's like, oh, you got something on your shoulder. She goes, oh, wait a minute. Oh, no, wait, I think it's a bunch of Jumpman symbols. I look at the mirror, I'm like, oh, it says air Jordan.
You know, if Yao Ming had a clothing line come out, I'd buy something.
I would too.
Well, you should support your heritage. Yes,
Thank you. I will.
I agree.
So, like, yes,
Yow.
I'm a Niners fan, but
That's why we're being extra nice to Sean today because apparently Asians have been taking a lot of hate and discrimination these last few weeks.
Dude,
And
when the NFL put that out, and I was like, finally.
I have got my justice.
Sean is.
I
the-
didn't know what
Well,
happened.
Look, back to the Bledsoe thing. Nobody watched more Bledsoe than
I love how Keith just like Keith's like, no, fuck you. I'm the minority on this show, asshole. You ain't taking my fucking
fuck you,
victim
1
card.
1/10. What's a 1 1/10?
Don't bring up numbers. How dare you?
Wow, maybe I am the minority.
Look,
on this
right here,
show.
look,
I'm
you
the
see
only
that?
one-
You are.
I am. I'm the only one that's not a minority.
Piece of shit.
You might be onto
Take
something.
a 23andMe.
I did. I know what percent victim.
I'm like
I am.
11% Viking, but I gloss right over that. I'm like, Chinese, that's
Well,
me.
Viking, I mean, that's just an area. in
Yeah, they just
time
raped a
of-
bunch
You know
of
what's
people.
funny? I'm actually more Portuguese than I am Italian.
That I find very odd.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I knew I wasn't that much Italian, just my last name. But yeah, no, I'm mostly Irish. Mostly Irish.
Wow.
Yeah.
The bottle of vodka.
Good. Yeah,
over
I
there
was
fucking-
like, couldn't say.
Couldn't
well,
say his
the vodka
blood.
would be Russian.
Puts up your
Yeah,
dukes.
no, but the alcoholism itself is just like has no effect.
and the basket of raw potato.
I
in there.
wish I
It's
had, like, if there was one accent, I wish I could
Meat
have it was an
potatoes.
Irish accent.
What, drinking your whiskey?
Whiskey.
You ever think we can get?
Proper number 12.
Do you ever think we can get Joey so
Proper.
drunk live that he just eats a raw potato,
I'm sure
and like
we could.
casually, just
I'm
like
sure we
chewing on it like an apple,
could. With a raw steak. What's that? Meat and potatoes.
and just nobody mention it. Just he just does it, and everyone's like,
No, see,
Like,
that's
why don't you munch it on a little hash? What
that's
of it?
that's the classic Irish dilemma. When you have a potato, you know, and you're starving, do you eat it or do you let it ferment and drink it later?
both. You eat half of it.
You cut
Tough
it
calls.
in half
Tough calls.
and put it in a bag.
You know?
But I'm
So-
sorry.
So back
Yeah,
to the Bledsoe
sorry.
thing. Nobody watched more Bledsoe than me. I actually caught a football from the guy. That was my boy.
You were
right?
the Trump of Bledsoe.
Legit.
Gotcha.
Many things he did, many things I watched. Okay,
Nobody watched more Bledsoe than me.
this is probably true. Besides people on film,
Okay.
like NFL films, but
Which I then watched all of them, so I
did
watched
too,
all the finished
actually,
products.
yes. But never once looking at Bledsoe until you look at the numbers and you're like, oh, all right, so he actually did put up decent numbers. But when he was playing for the Patriots, those first 4 years, you're just like, eh. There was points when he threw the ball and back then the camera would just show the ball and you're like, please don't get picked, please don't get picked, please don't get picked. Ah, he caught it.
It was
yes!
a guessing game, yeah, because the
legit.
camera angles were shit. Plus,
were terrible.
I mean, technology was terrible too.
Right. You
Well,
thank
not
you-
at the time it wasn't.
Thank you, Vince McMahon.
At the time, it
Yeah.
was great. It just we
Just
didn't,
weren't where we are now.
Just
But
imagine,
tell me now, you remember watching
imagine 15
football?
years from now what it's going to look like. Like
But
you
you
know
know-
what?
You could swat the ball away from home.
You know what the
Get
fucking
outta
thing
here.
I fucking hate though that every fucking network is doing that fucking Madden
The Madden
angle,
cam.
where it blurs out the background and it's just the player.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
fucking hate that shit, dude. That drives me nuts. Anyway, continue.
They're just trying to show depth, Joey.
I don't care. I hate it.
They're
It's-
highlighting
From
the-
home,
it makes it look cheesy as fuck.
in 15 years, they'll allow fans to throw flags from home. If you get more than 50% voting,
legit.
Hey, games would be 7 hours
People
long.
be breaking their TVs and shit, throwing the remote at the
No,
TV.
they'll be-
Like, that's a flag!
You'll be inside the stadium. You'll have an app that connects to your ticket stub and everything's digital. Like, do you think that pass interference call was correct? Vote. Press 1 for yes.
During
press 2
this
for no.
commercial break.
And then
and
they're
they press 3 for how dare you talk about Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, right.
You mean
He ate it raw.
You mean potato head? Did you drink your Coca-Cola
Yeah, that's
before
right.
you came
No,
on the show?
They announced today they will keep Mr. Potato Head.
They did.
They did.
Did they really?
They did.
Wow.
Hasbro announced it
A
will keep
rare
Mr.
win for
Potato Head.
normal people.
They're going to turn that cloud back around. They're going to send him back to Earth. He wasn't killed
Yeah, they were
off.
about to like the Lassie song just playing in the background.
Oh, yeah.
But so never once. Well, I mean, obviously the year.
What is it,
he had-
girl? Is Timmy in a well?
Obviously the year they went to the Super Bowl, they lost to the Packers.
Yeah.
After that,
No,
when
no,
Carroll-
that's not Timmy. That's
after
Mr.
that, when
Potato
Carroll
Head's
came in,
penis.
he was throwing 25 touchdowns a year. I mean, you think back in that era, 25, 30 touchdowns was gaudy numbers.
30
back
and
then.
10 was an excellent
Gaudy
year.
numbers, and he was putting up 25, 26, 13, 14 picks.
He could fling it.
The arm talent was never an issue with him.
No, just
No.
the brains.
The eye test, you were like, wow, this dude could fucking
No, he
launch
was
the ball.
he would lock in on one guy and he
Yep.
always looked for he was always looking
He
for the home
had-
run ball because he had a monster
because he
arm.
was like, I can do it.
And he had zero
winner.
pocket presence.
His pocket
None.
presence was terrible.
You would
he
see a
was a-
guy
he was a
barreling down,
statue.
and they're like, this man gonna die. And he'd throw the ball, and you hear, and you're like, man, at least it's Drew Bledsoe. He's built like a goddamn
What? But how many
mountain.
times
He was a
would-
brick shit house.
How many times would he throw the ball, lower his shoulder, and the defensive line go back at him just meet, and
Yeah.
they just stand and look at each other like, oh, hey, what's up?
They're like, what's going on? And then he took not even a big hit from Mo Lewis.
Mo Lewis.
And then Mo
And he
Lewis
almost
killed
died.
him.
He almost died on the field.
And his body was just like,
No more.
that's fucking enough. We've had enough of this shit.
And that was
Drew.
the one time Drew was like, "Oh fuck, I gotta get out of here."
That
I'm
was
gonna
like
die.
that was like the I always looked at that hit as that was like the Dale Earnhardt of hits.
Yeah.
Because you were like, wait, that's what killed him?
Yeah.
legit.
Like not the
Yeah, legit.
17
Yeah,
barrel
yeah,
rolls
yeah.
at Talladega, like that fucking killed. Like
exactly.
what?
That
It's
little
like-
nudge into the wall.
It's like
Yeah.
you keep pulling the electrical cord from the outlet, and it's right there at the tip, and I thought you just trip over the wire, and it comes flying
Yeah.
out, everything dies. Not literally. Well,
if he dies, he dies.
He does.
But so again, if you compare him to Fouts numbers, he's a Hall of Famer.
yeah, but see, I don't like doing that game, and I get why that's an argument.
When Bledsoe was playing, it wasn't a throw first league.
No.
Curtis Martin ran for 1,500 yards all of his seasons with Drew Bledsoe.
Yep.
They got what's his name? Terry Allen from fucking Washington. He ran for 1,000 yards. They got Braylon Edwards for that. Not Braylon Edwards. Come on, Edwards. Brian Edwards.
Robert Edwards.
Robert Edwards.
No, Robert Edwards from The Cure.
Yes.
Robert
Robert
Edwards,
Smith.
and then he
Sorry,
decided
it's
to go
Robert
to the
Smith.
Pro Bowl and play in the sand and completely ruin his career.
Damn
but
it.
when they had him, he ran for over 1,000 yards.
I
in his
bricked the
rookie
Robert
campaign.
Smith of The Cure joke. Fuck.
Right, but
ruined
like
it.
this was a running first offense that threw the ball when it needed to, and he was still putting
Yep.
up those numbers.
Sure.
It wasn't today's game, and that's why I said we got to dial back the numbers because when he retired, that's when the game was starting to turn into a throw first league. It was about the time he was getting kicked out of the league.
I don't know. When you watched him, he didn't pass the eye test, and that's like the biggest thing for me.
See,
like,
but I think if you take mobility out of it, I think he did.
I don't know. There was some
He's a
games. I mean,
fringe.
there was that duel he had with Marino. There was the game he had in Buffalo against
yeah,
Minnesota.
there were some games.
There was games that like he went off, and you just looked
When
at
he
him
had the
like,
broken finger and he had a rod through his fucking index finger,
Yeah, that
he
was pretty
still
rad.
fell for
Dude, you-
3,000 yards.
All right, so you talk about the Marino game. Talk about the Cordell Stewart games. The Cordell Stewart would kick the shit out of us, and he wouldn't even compare.
Yeah, but Cordell Stewart was.
Yeah, but
that
that
Pittsburgh team was just a different animal.
But I'm just saying, like, you think you would come up, like, when you have, like, quarterbacks duel each other, even though they're not facing each other, and they have these great games against one another. You never saw that, like,
yeah,
Bledsoe had, like,
but
one-offs.
what did they like? Pittsburgh kicked the shit out of him like 7-6 or something, right? Like
I mean,
there was like that one.
time.
Yeah, it was like 97, 98. Remember
Yeah,
when
there
they
was
like
one touchdown
when
score
Cowher
between the
went
two of
for
them.
it on the goal line and Cordell got stuffed and they won the game 7-6. They
Super
almost
slash.
lost and like
Yeah.
Cowher was like, "That's on me. I'm young too. I got to learn too." And like they ended up like whatever winning. They ended up losing to.
But again, you're also
to the
talking about a
Broncos in the
guy
AFC
that came to
Championship,
an
but-
organization that hadn't won more than 3 games in
Come
years.
on, man. That Pittsburgh team had Levon fucking Kirkland on it.
I'm talking about the
No,
Patriots.
he's talking about the Patriots.
I know,
mean,
but that Pittsburgh team
Like,
back
you
then,
got to think about
man,
it.
Slash
Bledsoe came into New England and
Fuck Slash.
completely saved the Patriots.
Levon Kirkland.
I mean, it was like, it was basically
Beast.
Grogan's team forever, and then that was it.
And
Like,
they were trash.
yeah.
After
And they
that
were
Super
like-
They made
run,
one
they
Super
were
Bowl,
trash.
and they got smoked, and it wasn't even close.
Trash.
And they were like, then we're going to turn Levon
So-
Kirkland into a running back, and we're calling him Jerome Bettis.
So then you got Bledsoe that brought the Patriots to reality
Yep.
and made them, instead of a laughing stock, to like, oh, wow, these guys win the East every year.
Well,
Holy
let's
shit.
not forget that the trifecta of Kraft,
Parcells,
Parcells,
and
Bledsoe saved the Patriots from
Moving to Connecticut.
basically becoming New York East,
Yeah,
like
legit.
the third New York team.
Yeah, it was going to be Connecticut something. It wasn't
They
the
were going to
Patriots.
play right outside of Hartford.
They were going
Yeah,
to
it
be
was
the,
Hartford.
Yeah.
They were going to be the Hartford Sabers.
Yeah, they were going to change the
I
name
don't
to
know if
They
Patriots
were going to
too.
change the name. It wasn't
Yeah.
I
the
don't know if
Patriots
that's
anymore.
true or not, but it would have been
It was
something.
the hockey team was the
been-
Hartford Whalers.
It would have been something equally as lame.
Right.
Right, the Hartford Whalers. Wait,
That
what?
was the hockey team.
Like, bitch, this is New Bedford. We own whaling. You
Yeah, I
can't.
know.
No, you can't take
Whatever.
that. No, fuck
So-
you, Connecticut. Who are you? You're not even people.
Would I say Bledsoe's a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Can't
No.
decide if they're Connecticut's or New
But
York, New
is
Jersey.
based on what he did and
God, I hate
the
Connecticut.
stats that he had, I could see him making
How
it.
many years are you allowed to be in the NFL Hall of Fame ballot?
8?
Oh, on
Is
the
it
ballot?
That many?
8, right?
No, I don't think there is a limit to how many times you can
No,
be
I
on
thought
the-
it was after 8, and then it goes to the committee, and you have 2 years on the committee until 10 years, and then you're done.
No, because then you get the no.
There's a
because
cap
they,
because
well,
they give you the
you
extra
get
2 years.
right, but
for
then
the,
then now they break it down into like the like old school bracket and then the new school guys. So you get the guys that there's some sort of. You're right. There is some sort of. But
there's
you
a
have
grace period to be on the main ballot.
Yeah,
And
you
then
have.
once you get off that main ballot,
You have to be.
you have X amount
voted,
of years
You have to
from
be voted in by a committee in order
Correct.
to be put in, and like you can't lobby for it either. It's not like it's something
No.
you'd be like, "Hey, put me on." Like
like Chris
Yeah.
Bosh when he made the All-Star game that year in Toronto.
Yeah, but he looks like a bird, so whatever.
a dinosaur. Well, I guess those are pretty. Those
Hey,
are actually more
birds.
closely
Ostrich?
related, right?
Ostrich? Can we
Yeah.
just settle on ostrich?
Yeah.
Closest thing between the two.
No,
Not a
no,
bird, not a
no,
dinosaur,
no.
but can't fly or
Well, Pogosol
bite
is more
someone.
of like an emu
definitely.
I-
or an
I'm not-
alpaca.
I didn't to say Pogosol.
I'll say alpaca.
Alpaca. He's definitely
They
more of
spit.
an alpaca. Yeah. But yeah, no, I guess dinosaurs
So,
and birds
you know-
are pretty closely related.
All right, if we just quick right now, Bledsoe Hall of Fame, yes or no?
Ooh. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not
I'll-
saying first ballot; it could be ninth ballot.
Well, obviously he's not
no,
first
but,
ballot.
yeah, right? But I'm just saying ninth ballot.
Clearly,
Like,
he's
he's
that's
good.
like
I think he has 2
10 years
years.
too late for that.
I think he's got 2 years left for committee.
No, I don't. Then I don't think he gets in. Then are we saying? Do I think he's worthy of the
Right,
Hall of Fame?
Worthy.
Yes. Do I think he will? No.
Easy no.
See, yeah,
Right. It's an easy no. He's not getting in.
He's not getting in, but I
But-
think he should.
No. I think if I had a casting ballot, I would say no. And I,
and
and
you
I
know
would
what? I
and I
respect
would
that
not
because
and I would
I-
not change my
I
mind.
won't argue with
because
it.
what you said when you said he didn't pass the eye test.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Because
he
now-
showed flashes of being great and a Hall of Famer, but he was never able to consistently operate at that.
And
Hall of Fame
because
level.
now
yeah,
if-
you know what? I'm gonna go with Sean.
But you know what? But you got to put a lot of like. He had 4 coaches in New England.
Oh,
yeah,
well,
but it's-
sorry. I mean,
But how many offenses? Like,
Peyton Manning took 4 different coaches to 4 Super Bowls.
Peyton Manning.
I'm just saying.
another
Peyton
thing.
Manning was coaching himself in college.
Another thing, I'll also say, if you let Bledsoe in, it's such a slippery slope of letting fringe guys get in there now, and then it becomes the Hall of Very Good,
Right,
which
if
I
we're
don't
if
want.
we're right, if you're
Again, I completely get that.
right, we don't
But
want
if
to
we're
turn this.
talking the
We don't want
stats,
to turn
when
this
Bledsoe-
into the
Bledsoe
NBA
came
Hall
in
of Fame.
When Bledsoe came in '93, if you had 40,000 yards passing, you made the Hall of Fame.
Keith, he's in the Patriots Hall of Fame.
Of course he is.
That's the max.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, and for this reason, because if
I'm not lobbying for it. I'm just saying there's a case to be made that he could make it.
but if we're on the fence and we're debating about Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning getting
There's
in,
no debating about Phillip Rivers.
there is though.
There
Shouldn't
is, though.
be. There shouldn't be.
I agree.
But
there
there
shouldn't be.
is.
Yes,
but
he
there
never
is.
won a Super Bowl. Yes, he never
But
made
if
it to a Super
we're
Bowl.
but
the
if we're
motherfucker
debating
blew the
about those
doors
two
off
getting
of everybody.
in, then yeah, Bledsoe's out.
And there should
Exactly.
be there should be no debate about Manning
If Phillip
other
Rivers,
than record.
yeah, if Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning are kind of like right now they're the fringe guys,
yeah.
then fuck out of here. Yeah, then Bledsoe doesn't have a chance in fucking hell. And I'm okay with that. I mean, he's not like a guy I'm slamming the table saying how the fuck is he not in the Hall of Fame? Like, do I think he was his numbers and yeah, you can compare him to Fouts, but like Keith and I looked at, Fouts played from like what 73 to 84,
Totally different time.
totally different thing. And Fouts did partake in a
revolutionized the
revolutionary
offense,
offense in the Air Coryell offense in San Diego,
Yep.
where they were airing it out all the time. And Kellen Winslow, like that was a team that did things that nobody had ever seen before.
Correct.
So, yeah, I agree. Like maybe Fouts wasn't exactly the guy. Like you could have done that with just about anybody. Maybe like if you gave Don Coryell Dan Marino, I'm pretty sure he would have had just a fine old
Fuck ton
time.
more.
Fine
Fuck ton more.
time. You know what I mean? And I don't even know that Fouts was the best quarterback of that era either. I mean, the 70s, you had Staubach, you had Plunkett, you had fucking. There was plenty
That's
of
when
guys.
Montana started to come around.
Montana was
early,
mid late.
79.
Yeah, late 70s. But like you had plenty of guys. Like had Warren
Boomer.
Moon not been not been in
Warren,
Canada.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Warren
Yeah,
Moon would
I
have
mean,
been tearing it
and
up.
then another thing, if you go back at that time and you bring up like the best quarterbacks in the league, Bledsoe was always like top 10, but he was never like the top 2 or 3. He never broke top 3. Never broke top 3.
I'm gonna, in the
The
AFC.
numbers-
In the AFC, he was always top 5.
Oh, come on. You're going to
No,
split the league
because
in half.
you had Marino, you had Elway, AFC. Let me see, 90s quarterbacks in the
Now,
AFC.
look, I'm not 93 because that was his rookie year, but if you go 94
92.
and up,
Okay, so you had Elway, you had Marino, you had. Let me think. I'm just running through in my head and trying to think.
Warren Moon,
Warren Moon.
and then but already 94, he was already kind of out the door in Houston.
I mean, you're still talking about the San Francisco legacy of quarterbacks.
I just said the AFC.
Steve.
I know, come
AF
on.
AFC?
I'm not cutting the league in half. I'm
No,
just saying like in general.
But when you do Pro Bowl, you're cutting the league in half, right?
I don't
he
count
made the Pro Bowl.
Nobody cares about Pro Bowls.
I get it, but that's when you're measuring by something like that.
At the time. But
At the time, he was always top 5.
wasn't
in
Neil
the AFC.
O'Donnell? Was Neil O'Donnell in Pittsburgh at that
O'Donnell
point?
Oh my God,
Trash.
Neil O'Onnell.
Yeah,
but
it was Neil O'Donnell.
But he was pretty good that year. Those
He was
couple
good that
years.
year, but he was trash. Larry Brown loves him.
Well, let's just look at let's just for the
Argument's sake.
argument's sake, let's go to 95.
All right, okay, do 95.
Fuck it, let's go to 96. Bledsoe's
That's a Super Bowl year.
His Super Bowl year. Okay, so you had Mark Brunell, you had Jeff Blake, Testaverde. Let's see. You had obviously Elway,
Which Elway Marino is your 1.
Steve Bono.
1-2.
Oh, Stan Humphries. Remember him? Jim
Oh.
Harbaugh.
San Diego.
Jesus.
Jeff
Indy.
Hostetler was in Oakland that year.
Yeah, Raiders.
Oh, Mike Tomczak. That's who was in Pittsburgh, not.
Wow, Mike Tomczak. This is like
Well,
a
'cause that
Oh,
was-
right.
that's-
Jim Kelly, obviously.
That's who replaced.
We always forget about poor Jim
That's
Kelly.
who replaced Neil O'Donnell.
really do.
Was Tom Zach.
Dude, I guess there's your top 3 right there. You had Elway, Jim Kelly, and Marino.
Okay, then Bledsoe was your 4.
Fringe.
Brunell. I'd put Brunell above him.
So then Bledsoe was your 5.
In
Top
the AFC,
five.
top 5 in the
Top
AFC.
5. Okay.
Doesn't even make the Pro Bowl
Yeah. Only.
But he
don't
did that
say
year,
that.
actually.
because he made the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, that was because that was the best year of his career. 4,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. So, he definitely had that going for him. But yeah, no, I mean, he was always like a bottom end top 5. Like he was always kind of like I feel like
In the 10 range.
Like
He was,
Bledsoe was always like
relevant.
he was always
relevant.
in his prime. He was like 5 to 8 for the most part, and some years he was like 8 to 12.
So who would Drew Bledsoe be in the NFL right now? Like comparable. Andy Dalton?
No. Andy Dalton wish he had half the arm Bledsoe does.
No. I'm not saying. I'm just saying like
In
career.
terms of career paths.
Yeah, career passing. Not measure like
Matt
arm
Schaub.
for arm. Nah, Schaub doesn't even play anymore.
Schaub was really
And Schaub only had like 2 or 3 good
Yeah,
years.
Schaub was really bad.
Bledsoe had.
Bledsoe had a
Few.
good 5-year run.
He had a good 5-year-ish run.
He had a
but-
good 5-year run from 95 and up.
I don't know. I was just thinking about. I don't know. I want to say Andy Dalton. That's what pops right into my head.
In the league right now,
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins.
It's kind of insulting Drew Bledsoe a little bit.
But it's not. Kirk Cousins is a stat whore.
I mean,
Okay.
after 97, though, Bledsoe got progressively worse every year.
Oh yeah, that's what.
Well, that was the
That was-
Carroll
that was his
year, and then,
demise.
and
I mean,
then,
let's be honest. 94 was his career year in terms of yardage, 4,500,
45-5. Yep.
27 touchdowns. I'm sorry, 25 touchdowns, 27 interceptions. And then 96 was his best year, touchdown interception wise, or 97 was 28-15. He really only had 3 good years. I mean, let's be honest. Even that Buffalo year, which was decent, 4,300 yards, 24 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. That's pretty much it. I mean, outside of that, everything else is pretty pedestrian, even in the time that he was playing. It was pretty middle of the road. So it wasn't like he had. So if we're talking about guys that have only had like 2, 3, let's call it 4 good years, where he was in the, say, top 10 of the quarterbacks. Yeah, I mean, Andy Dalton, I don't think has ever gotten a sniff at that, so that's a tough one.
That's why I said Kirky. He's Kirk Cousins.
I could. That's a fair
I
comparison.
think that's closer.
That's pretty
That's
funny.
closer.
Joe Flacco.
Oh my God, another one.
Flacco, rocket arm, no mobility.
I think Flacco's actually probably the
Probably
best
nail
comparison.
on, yeah.
Because I mean, Drew Bledsoe. If a couple people had gotten,
Blocked.
a couple people did. Yeah, if Max Lane didn't get eaten by.
Or
Reggie
better
White.
yet, if somebody could have just touched Howard on a kickoff return, I mean,
Yeah.
No, that game was over even after the Howard.
I'm just
thing.
trying to think of
Before.
guys. I'm trying to think of guys that are like good comparisons to him. Because there's a lot of guys I think that we're probably glossing over right now. Like
Oh, if you go to Pro Football Reference,
Oh,
they'll give you
yeah,
guys
yeah,
that are like
of course.
compatible to him.
all right, let
Matt
me.
Stafford.
No, because
No,
Stafford's
Matt Stafford's more.
consistently.
But if Bledsoe played in this day and age, he's the
No,
rocket
because
arm
No.
quarterback.
Stafford's
Dude.
a much better athlete.
No, I'm going to tell you, if Drew Bledsoe played in this day and age,
He'd be dead.
he'd be actually worse because he'd get fucking murdered.
He'd be a dead man.
He does not move at all.
No, he don't.
And they're like, Drew, step up into the pocket. He's like, nah, man, I got this. Dead.
No, because you can't hit the quarterback.
If he has the ball in his hands,
Yeah.
Still can't hit him hard.
whatever. Just
Clay
You can hit
Matthews.
him.
Aaron I mean, you remember that hit, right? When he was like,
yeah, hold his whole
flag,
body.
wait, what the fuck? What else am I
No,
supposed to do?
here's one, and I'll throw this out there because I think this is a fair comparison for
Okay.
Bledsoe. Derek Carr.
Carr is
Carr's
way more mobile.
Way more. I'm not saying from a mobility, from a
You're just
playing
saying
style.
like eye
I'm
test,
saying,
win-loss, like throwing the ball.
yeah, like
Okay.
guys that are at his best, he's top
He's
5.
good. At his worst, he's
At his
15,
worst,
20.
he's at the bottom of the league. But for the most part, he's just kind of middle of the road.
Okay,
Yeah.
all
He's-
right.
He's
All right.
not the problem, but he's not the solution either.
Yep.
That's a good. That's definitely how I view Bledsoe. Not the problem, not the solution. He's just there.
Right? Like, I mean, are the Raiders ever going to win a Super Bowl with Derek Carr? No, absolutely not.
No.
Are they? Could Derek Carr go somewhere else and win a Super Bowl? Probably. There's a team about 45 minutes, 495 that could probably use Derek Carr and
You
win a
see,
Super Bowl.
you see, David Carr, his brother, came out and said that the Raiders should absolutely call for Deshaun Watson, which was kind of surprising to me.
Yeah, I think he just wants his brother out of Las Vegas.
Oh,
Yeah,
that too.
probably.
Okay,
Probably
fair
trying to
He's
enough.
probably like, dude, you need to leave Gruden.
Get the
Like,
fuck
get
out
the
of
fuck out of here
because
now while you can.
because the Raiders
Before
are.
your career is ruined.
I'm glad
Leave.
the Raiders came out because they're an interesting little.
Anomaly.
Not anomaly, but just like an interesting little story right now because you've got Derek Carr, who they've clearly hitched their wagon to. They've got John Gruden on the 10-year contract. There's
basically lifetime
constant-
contract.
Lifetime, yes, with ownership
right.
stake.
There's constant rumors of Carr being shipped out any year now. If you're the Raiders, right, and this
Do you
because
move Carr, get some
because
picks
this
for him
came
and go after
this came
Watson?
up during the Russell Wilson thing where Russ said he would be willing to go to Las Vegas, which makes me wonder for a couple of reasons. One, why would Russ want to go to Vegas, other than obviously the obvious marketing
Vegas.
opportunities and it's Las Vegas.
Strippers.
He is a born again virgin, so he might want to go sow his
Oh
wild
my
oats
God,
one
that's
more time.
right. The born again Christian thing with Sierra.
Yeah, he might want to go sow his wild oats. Who knows? Maybe
What is this, Eddie Murphy coming to America? Hey.
coming to America.
I can't wait for that.
Dude,
2
this
weeks.
is a good month.
2
For,
weeks.
this is a good month for movies
By the way, I just watched Tom and Jerry with the kids. Fucking hilarious.
because we get wait.
HBO.
Oh no, Mortal Kombat's in April, right?
Mortal Kombat's in
That's
April.
next month.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. This month we
Godzilla.
And the 4-hour Batman, the Justice League movie. I'm
I can't
excited
wait
for
for
the
the Snyder
It's
Cut.
4 hours. I'm like,
Yeah,
fuck
it's worth
it. I'm
It's
taking my
worth
whole
it.
weekend.
The first one was so trash. I'll sit through this.
Yes, and I hate trash and anything Batman, but I would kill myself instead of watching the other Justice League
Dude, that
movie
Justice
again.
League was trash.
I don't partake in any of those. You know that, but
yeah,
you
well,
know,
it's DC.
I'll take
Marvel's way better.
I'll take your words for it. Sure, but there's a couple of reasons. Obviously, outside of the marketing opportunities, why would Russ want to go to Vegas? The Raiders have done an absolutely just piss poor fucking job drafting.
Yep.
They've done a terrible job building a roster.
They've lucked out in a few spots. Like Darren Wall is a great fucking find for them.
Right, but for every Darren Waller,
There's 7
there's
busts behind him.
what's that fucking cornerback they took in the first round like 2 years ago or 3 years ago? That's just absolutely fucking terrible.
Oh, he had tons of off-field issues. They took him anyway.
Yeah.
I forget
Yeah.
his name. Carroll.
No, not LSU. Where the fuck? I forget.
It was not LSU.
I think it was Carroll, right? Wasn't it?
I think it was something Carroll.
Something like
I
that?
think. But when they took him, I was like, the guy has a huge, like a bunch of character concerns.
Yeah, and it was trash. And I mean, they like, oh, we got Max, Max Crosby, Mad Max. I'm
Well,
like,
I mean, the
great.
What's his name? The running back they got there.
Jacobs?
Jacobs.
He,
Fine.
He was good. That's a good pick for them.
Right, but they
Big big boy though. He's gonna go. If he gets hurt, that's his whole
Oh,
career.
I know.
but their defense is just terrible. Like, I mean, the funny thing about Russ to the Raiders was it's like, okay,
He's
the
moving
Raiders,
from a team that sucks to a team that sucks.
he's going to a worse roster,
Mm,
a worse roster.
Offensively, yeah.
offensively, yes.
You've got what?
I mean,
Josh Jacobs. The offensive line in
you
Oakland
got Waller.
is in
You
shambles.
got Jacobs and
Who's the kid they drafted last year, the wide receiver?
Aguilar? Oh, Ruggs.
Henry
Ruggs, and he looked absolutely lost in the offense
But
last
I
year.
think
Haha, Ruggs goes zoom.
I think Wilson would help Ruggs a boatload.
And you know who's coming out this year? Waddle. He's like
Yeah,
Ruggs part
Waddle's
2.
like Ruggs part 2.
Yeah.
Just all speed. Everyone's
Right.
like, oh, he's nice. The next, everyone that has speed, next
Tyreek
Tyreek Hill.
Hill.
Exactly.
Oh God, yeah, I know. The Tyreek Hill.
The difference
comparison
is
just
these guys come in in
ludicrous.
their speed, but Tyreek Hill is actually a solid frame for his size.
And he wasn't the first round pick either.
No,
so.
but he's a solid frame for his stature and speed. These guys that come out with speed, they're like the smallest cornerback in the league turned wide receiver because they're fast.
Yeah.
But it makes
Like
me wonder
Dante
because,
Hall,
because the
lit up.
Raiders, when you look at the Raiders, like they have to take when this draft comes up, if you're the Raiders and your plan is anything but defense,
Or line.
and then when defense doesn't work, more defense, you're wrong. Like then you're not doing it right. The offensive line is on the downturn. Like Trent Brown, as good as he played the first couple of years, he's been hurt the last.
I think he's out
only
the
played,
door.
I think, 16 games the last
I
2
think
years.
he's out the door.
He's definitely gone.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get cut.
So, I mean, you can go line and defense this draft. That's
Actually,
that's what you're gonna do.
I'm glad you brought up defense. How do you, and we always talk about on this show how like the college will dictate how the NFL moves forward the next few years. How do you feel about Nick Saban coming out? And maybe you missed it because it was a small blurb that kind of just like went out there through all my draft readings that I do. And Nick Saban was asked about defensive game planning for the future, and he said very bluntly, "I don't give a shit about defense anymore." Plain as day. No, I'm not making those words up. He's like, I don't give a shit about the defense anymore. He goes,
Well, in the
teams are
college-
going to score. That's all it is.
In college, yes, because the way the rules are changing, and again, this is what Andy Reid has been basically building in Kansas City is an offense that's going to score 30 points a game every single game, and the NFL is trying to copy, like
Andy
in
Reid,
in go in those footsteps of college, where right it's you're scoring 35, 40 a game, and just
And you're
there's-
giving
as
up
normal.
28.
and
Yeah.
nobody can keep up with you. But as we've seen time and time again in the NFL, and the reason why Nick Saban probably says that is because in order to get a collection of defense in a college team that's able to stand up against a Clemson with Trevor Lawrence or whomever,
Well,
Ohio
when you're
State.
recruiting, you're recruiting more offense than defense.
Right, because in college, the way the rules are, especially like in overtime where the defense is automatically at a disadvantage. Yeah, okay, you want to be able to score. Score. Just keep scoring. Just don't worry about anything else. Just
I
keep
want
scoring.
my offense to never get stopped. Every drive is points.
Right, because no matter what happens, because like Nick Saban said, defenses are going in college. Defense is kind of going out the window. In the NFL, you can put 11 guys. Like you've got 11 of the best guys in the world, potentially that do their job at that particular position. That like we saw it this year with Tampa. Tampa went and they just absolutely dicked down Andy Reid's offense,
No, we both don't have a pen.
and it was just and embarrassed the shit out of them.
Yes, they did.
with-
Granted, their offensive line was fucking band-aids. And
again,
Scotch tape.
but right, they took advantage of a couple of things.
Guess
but
what? And they didn't make adjustments. Fuck them.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I agree 100%. But to your point, and we've said this because we've watched the power running game come back in college the last couple of years with, like, the Nick Chubbs of the world. Georgia did it. Bama did it. So on and so forth.
Even Clemson with Etienne this year.
Yeah, there was power running games that were available, that were prominent within the college ranks.
Yep.
Big ass offensive linemen, guys that could run. The problem
you mean
is,
that boy thick?
and as we see it, and again,
Lord.
you'll start to see that pendulum kind of start to swing as these defenses become smaller and faster. Coaches are going to look at that and they're going to say,
Run the
"We're
ball,
going to
run
run
the
the
ball,
ball
run
right
the
down
ball."
their throat, and we'll pass when it's we'll pass when we need to, but let's use the run to open up the pass game." It'll eventually swing back to that, and you'll
Smash
always
mouth
have
football.
your years where there's one-offs and things like that. But I think you'll start to see that come back because it just makes sense that it would, right?
Mm-hmm.
This whole the whole passing offense every single year, and this is all fine and well. But look, half the league, almost if it wasn't half the league, it was just under or just over half the league, threw for 4,000 yards this year. Well, that's insane. Like, usually 4,000 yards was like, that used to be, wow, that's hard to hit. Now you got half the league doing it. 30 touchdowns used to be like, wow, impressive. Now it's like, you didn't throw 30?
No, now we're guessing guys like, oh, wow, 28, 30. And that's like average guys were guessing 28, 30 touchdowns.
Right. I mean, Brady only threw, I think, broke 30 touchdowns, 3 times in his career prior to
Prior to this year?
2018
Yeah, it was like
or
3
19?
or 4, yeah.
I think he's only had, you know what I mean? So, like,
He's a high 28s, high 20s guy.
this is the second, Brady had the second best year of his career this year, touchdowns-wise.
Yep. Besides 07.
Randy Moss.
That's why it's the second best.
Oh, yeah, I know, but I'm just throwing it out there. But the gap in between is like 14 years.
Right, but I'm just saying because that's how much the game has changed. So, to your point, Sean, no, I don't think what Saban said. I don't think that holds any real merit for the NFL because in the NFL, defense will always be. You have to have defense because you can't. No matter how good your offense is in the NFL, there are guys that are just too good. Somebody is going to make a play somewhere, and you just can't. It's
Perfect
just not
example,
sustainable.
The Rams-Chiefs game that Thursday night when it was like 52-48.
Dude, that was like 4 years ago already. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Yes.
The ketchup and mustard game.
Yes.
That was Mahomes' rookie year.
Yeah.
That was the year
Well,
they.
his second year.
Yeah.
Second year, right. First year was
First
a
year
starter.
starter.
No, I
Yeah.
thought that was Alex Smith's last
No,
year.
That was Mahomes.
No, it was
That was
Mahomes.
Mahomes' first year
Okay.
starter.
Because
But-
remember, we were saying, it was the year Mahomes threw 50, and then they lost in the AFC Championship
Yeah.
when D Ford lined up
Yep.
with his finger offsides.
Yep.
I think I was on like.
When Brady threw his third interception,
Yeah,
came in.
So,
and
but
did
if you
the
look
session.
at that, look, case in point, that was like a college game. But like Joey said, eventually somebody's going to make a play. And it so happened to be a play was made in the fourth quarter like a minute to go. First defensive play in the fucking game. Won
Yeah,
the game for the fucking Rams.
and right, and then look what happened to both of those teams down the stretch. They both got dicked down by defense. Because
And the
Rams,
Super Bowl is probably one of the worst.
the Rams
ever.
got to the Super Bowl and scored 3 points,
3 points.
and then the Chiefs got to the AFC Championship game, and the same team
And
held
should've
them
won.
to. Should have won, but they shut them out in the first half.
And you know what? Speaking of the Chiefs have a lot of work to do in this offense.
They do.
In the offseason.
And they are over the cap right now.
Yep.
They're over the cap, and they have some guys coming up that they have to pay. The Chris Joneses.
The Chiefs are going to have a very interesting next year and a
Off-season,
half.
yeah.
And they have, they apparently are not sold on CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Edwards-Helaire.
They're not sold on him. They need offensive line help. They have a lot of holes all of a
They
sudden.
have, because Eric Fisher's not getting any younger,
And yeah.
and he's hurt, and he might not be back until like October,
And
November
what's his
next
name's
year.
not coming out of COVID relief, so
Who?
their offensive lineman, that's a doctor.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I was like, what? Who's not coming out of COVID? Took me back for a second.
But the Chiefs offseason. This offseason, like you said earlier in
It's
the
going to
show,
be interesting.
it's going to be very interesting because there is going to be an absolute fucking avalanche of guys that are going to become available
Talk about today.
that you had no idea are going to be available.
Now, before we jump off and get into the free agency real quick. Now, Sean, you being a Patriots fan, you were talking about Marcus Mariota
Yep.
last week,
Yep.
right? If this Russ to Las Vegas thing is real, do you try to make a push for Carr being the Patriots and
Nah.
give the Raiders some assets so they can go and make a move for Russell Wilson?
I'm not crazy about Carr. I mean,
He's an upgrade over
I
Cam.
think if you have to go Carr, he's a longer term commitment for the team,
Yeah.
and I think the Patriots want a short term commitment to bridge to somebody else, no matter who it is. I feel like they will draft a quarterback in this draft to try and be the guy. After, I
What
really
pick do you
feel
have?
what
What pick do you
we
have?
have 15.
Yeah, good luck.
No, it's plausible because if you can get to the 8-9 range, it's only going to cost you a second-round pick, and apparently the Broncos would actually be willing to move back to 15 because they have some swing room there because they're looking more defensive players, and there's a lot of defensive players not taken in the top 10 right now. So you're looking at one of the first drafts in history that the first potential 10 picks will all be offensive players. That's a potential right now, and 5 of them could be quarterbacks, which is insane if you think about it. So then you might get guys like Kwity Paye, Micah Parsons. You might get some of the big-name defensive guys that drop to that 10 to 15 spot. So if you're Denver and you know, hey, we're not going to take one of these quarterbacks, like if they're not,
sure, we'll trade. Give me another pick.
Yeah, if the Patriots think, hey, Mac Jones is the guy, Trey Lance is the guy, and they want to move to pick 9, I would not be upset if the Patriots said, we'll give you our 15th pick and our first next year. I'm fine with that if you know that's the guy, and I trust Belichick. If it was like Pete Carroll, I'd be like, oh, Jesus Christ. If it's Russell Wilson for this year's pick and next year's first-round pick, I don't even hesitate.
No. In the draft, Wilson.
Zach Wilson?
Zach Wilson.
No, there's no way he's getting past 2. There's no way.
No, it's going to be 1 to him. Him and Lawrence are going to be 1-2.
That's it.
Oh, Lawrence is definitely 1. Urban Meyer's already.
Unless the Jets do the unfathomable and decide Sam Darnold's the guy and they're going to roll with him.
No.
Which
what's been the market for Sam Darnold?
They're asking for a 2 and nobody wants to give him a 2
because they know that if the longer they wait, the
more desperate the Jets become.
Or the Jets are just going to let him go and they're not going to get anything.
And then you talked about
you'll get him for a 5th.
You talked about the Patriots.
Pat's already hyping up the draft night show.
Who?
Pat.
I'm not going to be able to do it this year. Thursday night, I can't.
Oh, okay. I mean, we can go live. That's
you guys
from the bedroom.
You guys ought to do it. I can't do it this year though.
Big thing.
You never know. It's far away.
No, I can't.
Big thing.
I'm dead to the world Thursdays and Fridays.
Patriots. The Patriots thing quarterback really quick. I know we're getting close to the time here, but the Patriots thing right now is that the 49ers have shown their hand. The 49ers reached out to Carolina to see how much it would cost to get Teddy Bridgewater. And they've already reached out. We know about Sam Darnold. So they've basically admitted that Jimmy Garoppolo is not the guy.
Lady in red again?
I said that in the last season. I said if Jimmy Garoppolo comes into New England and beats the shit out of us, Belichick's going to fall in love again. And I said it whatever week that was, and he came and beat the brakes off of us.
Bill was just sitting in the background licking his
lips like, man, this man going to look good in red next year.
Man,
he's already in red, but whatever.
In blue.
Yeah, I want the red jerseys to come back. Anyway, so then you still have Teddy Bridgewater that's available.
Why would you want Teddy Bridgewater?
No, apparently nobody does. He was a prize treasure last year, and then nobody wants him now.
Because he looked good for fucking 6 games when he subbed for Drew Brees.
So then you have Marcus Mariota, who apparently will not be traded for anymore. I guess the Redskins yesterday tried trading a 6th rounder, and were shot down. So because they want a 5th, I don't see the big difference there. So
I don't either, and I think. One thing I'm glad you mentioned the Redskins.
Well, you play hardball, maybe you get a 5th or a 4th.
Did you see there was an article that went around because obviously the Redskins they've told Alex Smith they're moving on from Alex Smith, which caused a little bit of an uproar on social media yesterday.
Why?
So, people were like, how can you make he's a comeback player of the year, and you're just gonna show him the door after 1 year?
He's old.
This and that, blah blah blah, and everything he did.
He shouldn't be.
They're like, oh,
football.
real classy, and I was like. Am I the only one that didn't see this coming? Because there was like a lot of obviously it's Twitter, so it's a cesspool, and everybody just dogpiles. But there was a lot of people that were shitting on the Redskins. I think because they just want to shit on the Redskins.
They just want to you should just leave him on your team, even if he's not starting.
They're like, oh, how are you going to how are you going to tell the comeback player of the year that he's no longer welcome? I'm like, did you watch Alex Smith play last year?
Listen,
I know we gave him the comeback player of the year award because
that
it was
dude should not be on a football field. Period.
That's his prerogative.
It's his prerogative, but
much like Texas and Mississippi, said today, adults can be adults and they can make their own decisions.
What he was on the field. Yes, you passed the medical. Yeah, the doctors cleared you. Whatever. Bro, he was on that field scared for his life.
Yeah, I mean, dude.
Right, he did not play good. He was not good.
He shouldn't be on
and
the
again,
football
I
field.
know he won the Comeback Player of the Year award, but the only reason he won the Comeback Player of the Year award was because they really didn't have a choice but to give it to him.
Yes, 100%.
He almost died after surgery. He got infections.
He had 7 surgeries.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, in a week.
We didn't even know if he was going to have a leg.
Exactly.
They showed the picture of his leg. It looks like he was a zombie.
Yep.
It was like his leg was
just
eating
necrotic.
itself.
It was literally a necrotic.
Yeah, and so the fact that the Redskins are letting him go comes as a surprise to absolutely no one except for a couple hundred people on Twitter who just think it's an outrage. But again, I think that has more to do with the fact that they just want any reason to shit on the Redskins.
Yeah.
Because it's just
the Redskins.
It's the en vogue thing
yes,
to do.
we still say the Redskins.
Do the Redskins get a new name this offseason?
No.
No.
No, they still go football team.
I think they're just going to go back to being
They're
going to
go back to the Redskins. It's going to happen.
I don't think so. I think
Listen,
that chicken flew the coop.
The longer they can push this off and keep on coming around all kinds of bullshit, they're going to come back to it and be like, look.
I just love how South
we've
Park was so
tried-
far ahead of the curve.
We've
on this.
tried
really.
everything. We're going to be the Redskins.
Which I cannot wait for next Wednesday with the vaccination
Oh, the vaccination
special.
special.
So then, right before we came on the air tonight, Kyle Van Noy, Patriots linebacker, signed a big deal with Miami last year. 4 years, $51 million, tons of guaranteed money. Earlier this afternoon, a reporter from Miami came out and said, "Hey, Kyle Van Noy might be cut." And 20 minutes later, Kyle Van Noy has been released.
Yep.
And it was a shock to Kyle Van Noy himself.
Yep.
Yes, it was.
Who found out and made a Twitter post about it. And it was just like, I am shocked. I thank the Miami Dolphins for everything. And then now the Dolphins are saying, well, he's not officially released until tomorrow morning, so we're going to try to trade him. But that
How
never,
can you do that?
Because
that never works.
It's not official.
No, but it never works.
It
'cause
never works.
Teams now know, well, you're going to let him go tomorrow, so why the fuck am I going to waste money?
Exactly. Why am I going to give him all that money if we're just going to cut him and I can give him a new deal?
Van Noy also said he was surprised and disappointed by the move as well.
It's shocking. He was down there to change the culture.
I know it's kind of one of those things where you bring this guy in to help change the culture. You pay him a bunch of money.
He had a decent year.
He's a good player.
Yeah. It's not like he's trash.
He had 10 sacks, didn't he?
He didn't play poorly.
Well, he played like 12 games, though. He missed like 4 or 5 games.
Oh, my God. You missed 4 games.
But still, I know. But maybe they're saying
Again, it's the NFL for you. And maybe they just decided, maybe they saw an opportunity to get out of that contract, and they were just like, fuck it. We're not going to pay this guy that much money. Why did we do this again? Oh, and then maybe on top of it, too, maybe they realized, hey, you know what? He came in for 1 year. He did what we were hoping he would do. And
they made him a captain, too.
We're good. We're good. We're good. We're all set.
And then Kyle Rudolph just got released by
Kyle
the Vikings
Rudolph got
right before
released.
we went on air.
And
that was no surprise, though. I think we all
knew that was going to
They
happen.
were trying to trade him last season, too.
Yeah.
Remember they were asking for like a 4th-round pick, and nobody wanted to match it.
Well, he's getting up there in age, too. He's 32 years old.
And Rappaport came out and said, he goes, I expect an avalanche of veteran releases coming.
Yeah.
Because so many teams are over the cap because of the stupid salary cap
You know
restrictions
what I
this
honestly
offseason.
see Kyle Rudolph doing? Green Bay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they kind of stick it
100%.
back to
Yep,
the
100%.
Vikings. Yeah, why not?
Or
Not
if
even stick to the Vikings,
or if Russ ends up in Chicago, that would be a good spot for him. The good thing,
I see that.
the good thing for Rudolph though is he has time is on his side right now. He can wait and see what shakes out,
and then just go where he wants.
identify the best place for him, and he's like, I'm going to play for the vet minimum, so fuck it.
Yeah.
But if I can add a Belichick thing, wouldn't it be so Belichick to
Get Van Noy back.
let your guy go?
Get paid.
You're going to get a 4th-round compensation pick this draft.
Compensatory.
Because you let him go.
And then he might be back on your roster for less money.
Yeah.
That would be
That's a very
that would be
Belichick
so
thing to do.
Belichick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make that a shirt. That's so Belichick.
So Belichick.
That's so Belichick.
Yeah. No, I could completely see it.
Look, it
Both
makes sense.
McCourty's already tweeted him, and they're just like the eyes emoji, like dude, come back.
welcome home.
And I saw Kyle Van Noy tweeting fucking Marcus Cannon like an hour ago, like before we came on air. So I'm like, oh, it's probably gonna happen. I don't mind if he
why
comes
not?
back.
Why
No,
not?
we need the help.
You're gonna get him for pennies to the dollar for what
Yeah.
you got in fucking Miami.
Basically, we're just gonna lose a year of Hightower and Van Noy playing together, and then the next year they're back anyway. It's just weird.
Belichick-
Yeah, and
it's
I think
Belichick life
if Hightower's coming back, I think you definitely need to bring back Van Noy because
Hightower's 100% coming back.
Yeah.
I don't know about Chung anymore, and I don't
don't-
know about Marcus Cannon.
and I don't know if Hightower is going to be even 1/10 of what he was 2
I
years
think
ago.
Hightower.
I
would
think
be
he'll
all right.
be 70% of what he was.
That might be a stretch.
He's already slow, so unless he gains speed,
injury
which he's
prone.
not. Yeah, that's true. But whatever.
I don't know that.
I still want him back.
I don't
He's
know
in the
that.
right-
I
he's
don't
in the
know
right
that his-
areas, though.
We talked about this last year when guys started opting out. I don't know that his age, that year off, was a good thing. Again, I think most of these guys that opted out, they committed career suicide.
Look,
So
Gronk
I think-
opted
He might
out,
come-
He
he
came
might-
back and he was fine.
Gronk didn't opt out. Gronk retired not because
Yeah,
of
I
COVID.
know.
Gronk retired because he was just like, "Fuck it, I'm done." And then
No,
was
he
like,
got traded. It
Sean,
still
I
bothers
say
me.
it. He got traded.
No, he did. They called him up. He said it live, and I can't believe I never really took that as fact, and it was apparently 100% true. The Patriots called him up and said, we just traded you to Detroit, and he says, you can't trade me because I'm retired. And it was like that simple, and they were just like, what? And he was like, yeah, I'm retired. You can't trade me. And that was how it started, and that was 100% fact. They traded him for like a second-round pick.
To Matt Patricia.
To Matt Patricia, yeah. And then he said, I'm retired, so he
Stafford
refused
was
to
like,
come back.
damn.
And boy, did Gronk make the right call by not going to that shit show.
Yep.
Holy
Of course he
crap.
did.
I mean, granted, it's got to be one of the easiest decisions as a free agent to be like, Detroit? Nah. Like, when was the last time Detroit was a major player in a free agent market?
I don't think ever.
Not in I can't remember in my lifetime.
I don't even think they've ever been a free agent market for their own free agents.
Dude, they signed Trey Flowers from the Patriots. They gave him like a fucking gigantic
Ridiculous amount of
deal,
money.
and he never did anything ever again.
Mhm.
I don't think he's even still in the league. Is he even still playing? I have no idea.
I don't remember the
Darius
last time.
Slay was drafted by them.
He was drafted by
Big
them,
Play
then he
Slay
left.
was drafted,
Yeah,
then he
with the Eagles.
bounced.
And he's talked shit about them all the time on Twitter.
Most people do. Most people do. When it comes to the Lions, most people do have nothing but bad things to say.
He's like Miss Ford, cool. Fuck that organization though. That's basically what he said, not word for word.
Miss Ford, shy.
She signed my check.
He's like, fuck them all though.
Fuck them all. Was
Look,
right.
even Sue was there his whole career, and he was like, this place sucks. I'm out of here.
I mean,
Barry Sanders.
This place sucks. I'm out of here.
Megatron.
This place sucks. I'm out of here. Matt Stafford. This place sucks. My wife's dying. Let's get out of here.
And they fleeced the shit out of the Rams.
I didn't know.
Deal,
I didn't know about that
because-
whole McVay and Stafford are like close friends. Like, that's weird. I think that's a bad mix-up. Like, you guys are friends.
Stafford's looking at his wife. He's like, she ain't doing too good. McVay's girl's got some hot.
I was
friends.
kidding. She's fine. She's in remission now.
I
Well,
know,
she's
I know.
hopefully fine.
She's gonna be fine. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about Mrs. Stafford. I'm sure she'll be just
She's okay.
ducky. And she's pretty hot too, so that helps.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I don't like the
I don't
whole
know how Matt Stafford
quarterback and
pulled that
coach
off
of
with his-
friends thing
his
off the
fat,
field.
Fat baby-faced ass. Pays to be a quarterback, dude. You don't have to be good-looking. Just smoke shows.
Who's an ugly quarterback? Let's think of like an ugly guy, like Josh Rosen.
Jeff Garcia
The rat. He was with a Playboy model.
still is.
No.
They're married.
What?
They were married. Yeah.
I thought that was over.
Garcia.
I mean, maybe it's over now.
Well,
That was
Terrell
10
Owens
years
is
ago.
like, he gay.
That was hilarious.
He's like, if it smells like a rat and looks like a
Do
rat.
you think Jeff Garcia ever went dancing in clubs with mesh shirts on?
Listening to the Village people.
Listen, I still take that guy on the Patriots right now.
What, Garcia?
No!
I was
Odell?
like,
Dancing on boats, Odell. Yeah.
Oh.
No. All right. Let's wrap it up there, guys. We'll get
Between
out
now
here.
and next Tuesday, we're going to have some interesting NFL news,
Oh,
guaranteed.
absolutely.
Yeah, shit's gonna start to hit the fan here over the next couple of
I
days.
think the Patriots have a quarterback by next Tuesday.
It's already
Yeah,
starting.
Cam Newton.
I'm okay. I really am. I'm like, I've accepted it. I'm okay with that.
Listen, man. If Cam ends up
Listen,
in
if
New
he's
England,
healthy, I think he'll be okay.
It's just his shoulder. His shoulder's shit.
Yeah, but
but is his shoulder going to be
better.
able to rebound?
Right.
I don't think he can throw farther than 15 yards.
Well,
Then I
15
don't
listen,
think he's going to be your quarterback.
15 yards is a start.
Look, I think
He
if
was liking it.
Cam's going to be able to rehab his shoulder, I don't know if he's going to have enough to be. If it's not enough to become a full-time starter, I think he ends up being a backup somewhere. Denver would make a lot of sense if he
I mean,
if they don't
did
if
they
they don't
ever
get
say what
Deshaun
was
Watson.
wrong with the shoulder?
Yeah, he had like major surgeries on it, and it just never recovered.
So, like, is it like something
It's
you
shot.
fix, or is it just like no?
No,
did.
it's shot.
Yeah, well then he's done.
He thought he was going to be good. He got COVID, and he said his shoulder was like garbage for the rest of the year. He said it himself on that
Yeah, we'll
podcast
sit
he
down
did.
there,
Yeah.
We played the clip.
He was
of it
he was
last
very honest. He's like, yeah. He goes, my shoulder was shit.
You could tell by the throwing motion. It was just
Yeah, he was throwing his back into it. He was like one of those like rubber band toys from like back in the day. You lean back and just launch.
Didn't work. But yes, the next couple of days, especially the next week and a half. I mean, was it 2 weeks from today? Free agency starts.
Yeah,
No, legal tampering
you get
period
that-
starts like a week from Sunday, right?
Legal tampering's right now.
yeah.
Everyone's legally tampering right now. You got
But
48 hours.
But there's
before.
that period that starts like Sunday at midnight, a week
Until
from Sunday,
Tuesday.
right? Until
Yeah,
Tuesday
you
or
can
Wednesday
send
at 4.
you can send a fax with a wink emoji on it. Like,
Yeah.
you know what this means.
We're gonna
right?
sign this deal, right?
And you
So,
you
but-
fax back. Who fucking uses faxes?
Because what the league year starts the 14th or the 16th?
I think it's the 14th.
I can't remember exactly, but whatever it is, whatever day, because all these moves, all these cuts, and all this stuff is going to happen before that. Because once that day hits, a lot of those contracts become guaranteed. So if anybody wants out, they got to do it before that day.
Oh, the franchise tag day. That's like the day before.
Yeah.
So
So
whatever day that is.
everything's going to be done before then. So over the next couple of days, like Sean
Yeah, it's gonna
said,
be real interesting.
you're going to see a lot of guys get cut, and there will be probably 3, 4, 5 names in there that you did not expect to see. Mark my words, it happens every year.
Every year.
I'm not going out on a thick limb or giving you anything you didn't know, but I think this year you might see a couple of more, a couple extras.
Spoiler alert, Odell.
I think Odell's definitely
I
going to be
don't
one
doubt
of them.
that any bit. He might even just get cut.
That's what I'm saying. He's going to be a cut.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I could see that. I could absolutely see that.
Dancing in a strip club with
They did better
with
without
men.
him.
They did.
They did. They
They
did.
did. It's again, wide receivers don't win championships. Just saying.
Julio, that's another one I'll throw out there.
I don't think Julio's going anyway.
Yeah, we'll see.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I.
Do you really,
I
if
don't
you're
see-
Art LeBlanc, do you really want to continue to haggle with Julio over his contract year to
No,
year?
but this is it. Like this is all right. You're here now. You're gone tomorrow.
Are you gonna work at Home Depot or what?
right?
You know what I mean? Like, do you really want to sit there though? Do you really want to? If you're LeBlanc, like, do you want to have him? Do you want to have to constantly be going back to
What
the
does he have
negotiating
left?
table?
2 years.
He's
knows?
asked for a new deal every
Every
year
since
for like
he
5
signed it.
years in a row.
But he's got what? 2
He
years.
signs
left?
a new deal. The next year he wants a new one.
Hey,
He
this
signs a new
offseason he
deal,
didn't
the
ask
next
for
year he
anything
wants
though.
He didn't ask for shit.
He kept real quiet
Yeah,
this offseason.
because,
He's like,
because he probably knows his
He's
ass
like,
is
I
out the
want to
door.
keep my money.
Hey, shit, if you can get it, you could trade Julio for a 3rd-round pick. I'd do it.
Bill's like this.
Somebody-
Bill
somebody's
loves
gonna do it.
discounted people.
Wait, who's throwing him the fucking ball?
He loves discounted people, but his contract's not.
Julio's gonna be.
discounted.
So what do I take 2 steps and turn around?
He-
Yeah?
He's like, I'm gonna just hike you the ball directly. I'll stay back here.
Julio, you're the quarterback. Cam, you catch the ball.
Cam did a good job catching.
That's an interesting thought.
No,
Who's to say Cam doesn't turn into like
he can't. He already said he won't.
like
No.
Taysom Hill type of deal?
No,
like
he's too
plays
old for
tight
that
end
shit.
or
Too
whatever
old.
else.
No, I'm going to.
Taysom Hill's 31
going
years
to-
old.
Taysom
Shut
Hill-
that conversation down.
Taysom
right
Hill
now.
also has like not played as many snaps. He's played like a 100th of what Cam has played.
1/10.
100th.
So anyway,
That would be
2 weeks from tonight, major programming announcement coming up. We got a lot in the works. Row1seat1.com. Make sure you check that out. Row1seat1 Facebook page. Make sure you like
For all
and
you
follow it.
cardboard dorks out there, don't forget cutting cards.
Cutting cards. Okay, what is it?
2306.
2306 Acushnet Ave. I'll get that down. 2306 Acushnet Ave. That's the
I guarantee
storefront.
you'll get that down before Sean gets our phone number down.
I have no idea what the phone number is.
It's been, what, 5 years now since we changed the phone number? And
No. We changed it when I was here.
No,
so
I have,
3 years
I have
since
no
we changed
idea.
the phone number. 3 years since
I'm gonna say 2 years
3.
because we had the old number when I first started here, and we had a good year with the old number.
617-538. I don't know. I have no idea.
5, 6, 7, 5, 3, 0, 9, 9.
I know the Cars for Kid number. I'll give you that. 1877
Shut the fuck
Cars,
up! Shut
Cars
the
for
fuck
Kids.
up! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! No, I refuse. All right, I'm out.
Love that commercial. No,
Yeah.
nothing is better than the. It's a crime to pay more than a
Oh,
dime.
that is terrible.
I think they killed. Someone killed her.
No,
Nuh-uh. No, she's my favorite radio commercial person.
Listen, the jingle that you'll always remember: 800-588-2300 Empire. Today.
The
Doesn't
giant
faze me.
glass one used to be embedded into my head too.
No, the one that I was when I was a kid. Home of warehouse pricing.
Nate Lyons.
Bruce Banner. You just make up the names. You could put anything into that.
You really could.
Yeah.
Then the Handy Andy commercial would come on and be like 10,000 decibels higher than everything else. You're like, Jesus.
Like, it's just vacuums. Calm down. It's
Why
just
is
vacuums.
Why is this man yelling at me about vacuums?
They used to be my neighbors. Like, no
Oh, no
bullshit.
shit.
Yeah.
No shit.
Henry and Paul. Those are, like, real cool dudes.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, they're still open.
They are, yeah. They've been doing it for their whole entire
In the
lives.
same spot.
Yeah, for reals. For reals, bro. On dogs, fam. All right, so 2 weeks from tonight, major programming announcement. Don't miss that. And we'll be back at you next Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. As
Adios.
always, right here on the one, the only, the New Bedford Guide for Joey, for Darkness and Mr. Sean Betancourt. I'm Joey Fats. We'll catch y'all next week. Peace.